Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back to Sacred Symbols Plus, a PlayStation podcast supplement. My name is Colin Moriarty. Today I'm joined by two very special guests indeed to talk about a very special game. Let's go around the horn and say hello to everyone. Chris Reagan, good to see you, my friend. How are you today? Nice sweatshirt.
Thank you. Yeah, this is an old print.
Yeah, that's an oldie. Yeah.
It's a classic. This is probably the first one, right? I think.
Or one of them. Yeah, it must be actually the first one, I would say. Yeah. That might even be from before we did it ourselves, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Right, from like California. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Had a good breakfast. It's nice and sunny out today. I was supposed to, this is weirdly coincidental. On the day that we're recording this, I was supposed to go to like this Metal Gear Solid party tonight. That's, I think, hosted like officially or something. Like, I don't know. I was invited by like a content creator friend of mine, but now he's sick and I don't know anybody there. And now I'm like, I don't know if I want to be a lone ranger at a party like this.
Yeah. Is it?
I'm not that guy.
Is it? What date would it be? I was looking it up. There's like Metal Gear Solid Con. But no, it's August 23rd, so that's not it.
That's already happened, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What this is. It was legit and whatever, but like I'm just like
Can we stag at the Metal Gear party?
They said they want you to like come in like tactical. I don't have any tactical gear, so I'm completely underprepared for this, so I'm probably just not gonna go.
You should have
just an eye patch.
Well, I was gonna say you should go in a wheelchair and have someone push you around like dressed as like a Spetsnaz, and you can be the end. Is it bad that I kind of look? Not that I want to be in a wheelchair, but I kind of wish I had one. You know, just at my disposal. I think that they could be very incredibly useful. Like I feel like they're just kind of fun. Like, no offense to anybody who's stuck in a wheelchair or whatever, but like I don't know. No offense.
I don't know. I just kind of think it's cool. It's kind of cool to have a seat that goes around.
We can put you in a wheelchair if you want.
Yeah, okay.
Gene Park, how are you today, my friend? Good to see you.
Good. It's been a long week for many reasons, and it's only getting longer.
It's good for the good time, I guess, to be in the news business, but bad time to be everyone else.
Pretty much. So
I thought we would get away from all the politics and the historical moments to talk about Metal Gear Solid 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready for this week to be over personally. We're recording this on a Friday. It'll go live on a Saturday. Hopefully it'll be a good respite for people. I'm ready for this week to be over. I'm just going to, after this, I think Micah and I either tonight or tomorrow are going to go see the Downton Abbey movie, like the finale of Downton Abbey. And I'm just going to kind of disconnect as much as I can. I think I'll play Chronos. Football's on Sunday. So I'm looking forward to just kind of getting away for a little while.
Mike was mentioning the Downton Abbey movie, and I was like, man, remember when TV shows had movies?
You know? Yeah, dude, the Brady Bunch had like multiple movies in like the 80s, didn't they? Yeah. Where they like, and I'm not talking about the 90s like comedy movies. I'm talking about like that would be the original cast and it would be like a Christmas movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like, the Simpsons movie was like a huge event. I
remember that. We went to see that at IGN as a whole company, which was funny when that came out.
Yeah, that was such like a major event. The Simpsons movie.
It was 2007, I want to say, right?
It was 2007. I remember.
Why was it a major event? Why was it so huge? Just because it was The Simpsons, I guess.
Yeah, because it's. I mean, The Simpsons was still. The Simpsons was obviously not as big as it had been in that year, or like the years leading up to it. But like, it was still like everybody knew it. And so for it to have a movie was kind of like, whoa. Because there were shows at the time that were like more popular technically with audiences that just did not have that. Like, I'm kind of surprised that there's never been a Family Guy movie, actually. Like, it's kind of like, not that I know what that would be really, but like, it's kind of surprising to me that like Bob's Burgers has a movie.
Do they really? Wow.
Yeah. I'm not even, they have a movie. Obviously, SpongeBob has many. And I guess it's animation, so it's kind of different, but like
Beavis and Butthead Do America, right? Yeah,
I love
the classic,
right? Oh god, that was awesome too. I remember when Family Guy got canceled, and it seemed like it was going to be gone forever. and I bought the remember there was like the DVD box set that everyone had. It was the yellow DVD box set, and that was going to be like the entire Family Guy, and then it just came back, which was awesome.
Yeah, that was. I feel like every elder millennial has that DVD box set. Like I have like 5 of them. I have all 5 seasons. You know.
Yeah.
And for some reason, they continue on with me. Like I've thrown away like all my CDs, like all my Bob Dylan and Beatles CDs, but for some fucking reason, I'm like, no, I gotta keep the Family Guy DVDs for some reason.
That was me with the Sopranos DVDs. When I left California, I finally got rid of them. What was funny is that my PS3 broke. Fat PS3 broke with like disc 2 of season 3 in it or whatever, and I had to send it in to Sony, and I never got the disc back. So I had like the complete series on DVD except for that. That one disc, which I always thought was funny as hell. Anyway,
yeah, but it made me remember like Arrested Development was supposed to have a movie too,
right?
Before they had season 4 or whatever. You know, like imagine if Seinfeld got a movie. You know, I would have loved that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded that either.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Community was another one that's still kind of happening, right? Or like something like that. It's in like
that was like
hell, I think.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like
it's a cool way to celebrate or like kind of come back for a one-off and not have to have too much pressure.
Yeah,
to stick around. I'm interested to see what happens with the Downton Abbey movie. I know you guys aren't fans, but I've been watching Downton Abbey for like almost 15 years. I get this at this point. So, on and off because it hasn't been a consistent thing. But it's incredibly sad that this is the end. In other words, every time you'd go into a season or even one of the movies, you would be like, all right, there's going to be more. Now we have to ask ourselves questions about like, how is it going to end? And I'm so nerdy is that I want to see it so quickly because I don't want anyone to spoil it. It's going to be a cool ending, I think. All right. Enough of that. Different historical drama. Metal Gear Solid 3. In the form of Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, which came out August 28th. We're turning this around fairly quickly by our standards, but the game isn't very long. You can beat it in 15 hours easily. I mean, at the most. Konami obviously acting as publisher and internal developer, but really it was made by Virtuous, which is a Singaporean contract studio of massive size. More than 4,000 employees. They've worked on everything. They have a pretty close relationship with Sony. Actually, they worked pretty heavily on both Horizon and God of War, I believe. But they worked on Assassin's Creed ports and Batman ports and Final Fantasy ports and LA Noire port and Dark Souls ports and BioShock ports and Hogwarts Legacy ports and Dying Light ports and so on. They worked extensively on Suicide Squad and Mortal Kombat 1. They, I think, made that entire, speaking of shows like Family Guy, South Park, Snow Day, which kind of came and went. They released that last year. And most recently, they're responsible for the somewhat contentious Oblivion remaster. But this is their most recent game. And we start here, of course, with Delta because with Metal Gear Solid 3, I should say, because it's the first game by far in the continuity taking place in 1964, where most of the rest of the series takes place in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So this is an origin story. We actually covered it on Knockback back in 2021, which was the first time I ever beat it. And because I wasn't a fan of Metal Gear Solid 3. And even when I played, I thought the story was awesome, the characters, and none of that's a problem. It was playing it that I really didn't like. There's just a struggle with third-person action from that era. And so I went back and listened to that podcast after I took my notes and played the game a few times. And it's like, pretty much exactly what I remembered, how I remembered feeling. And I feel like this game is such a huge step up and it's such a joy to play. And I think is the kind of the quintessential, in my opinion, maybe this is controversial, I don't know, the quintessential Metal Gear Solid 3 experience. You have, of course, the original on PS2 and Subsistence. You have the 3DS version. You have the PS3 and Xbox 360 ports. So there are a few different ways to play it. Let's go around the horn and get some high-level thoughts from you guys. Gene, let's start with you. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I assume you had this early?
I did, but I didn't get to play it really until just recently. So I played it pretty much alongside everyone else.
Does Konami do their own PR?
They do. They didn't contact me at all for this. I guess because they thought I might hate it or something.
Interesting.
Which is far from the case. I love this actually. You know.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. So talk to us about it.
Yeah, my high level thought is I wouldn't call this the quintessential one. I think the quintessential one is the original vision that Kojima had. You know, that's always going to be my stance on things. That said, though, I think this is the reason why I have no issues with MGS Delta at all is because it is, one, a great port, right, a great version of the game. But two, I can see it as, because the original games are so widely available in the Master Collection. I can just see this and accept this and celebrate it as another version of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, because it is essentially pretty much the same game. Like I understand that you have hangups on the gameplay or like how to control it. I had no such hangups whatsoever playing this. I listened to your Sacred Symbols where you talked about how you were able to like do all the secrets, right? And like the new control system helped you kind of along with that and kind of appreciate that more. I was completing the game like 1,000% like way back then when this was released, because I fully engaged with all the systems. I thought the controls were just fine, just the way they were, because you can shoot in first person, and that's what the game was kind of designed around, being able to look around the camera and look around the 3D environments in there. It's just that you can just do this now with like the quote unquote modern controls.
Did you play with the modern controls, or did you play with the old?
Of course, I played with the new controls, and I love it. I have no complaints. I think it controls awesome. It's an interesting fusion between. It's not just the Phantom Pain controls fused into here. They really did do a lot of thinking. This is what I appreciate most about the game, is that they were so thoughtful in adapting what could have been the Phantom Pain controls, but make it fit within the game logic and the game pacing of Snake Eater. So his animations are still kind of stiff. They're still a little slow. And it's because that's the game. The game was kind of paced around that, to have this kind of slower paced, like meticulous stealthing through these different scenarios, these different stages. Because the game itself is still this is not a Dead Space remake where they were able to kind of turn all the bits and pieces of the USS Ishimura into just one congruous environment. This is still separated by loading screens and by stages and what have you. So I think it really does retain the true spirit of the game. I don't see this as anything other than just a great version of Metal Gear Solid 3. And it is one that I would recommend to most people. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Chris, what are your high level thoughts as we get into it a little bit more?
Yeah. I mean, I loved it. I mean, I played like Metal Gear Solid I was really late to Metal Gear Solid. The original PS1 Metal Gear Solid I didn't own until like recently, and I still haven't beaten that game. I just find it so hard to play now. But 2, I remember beating on Vita many years ago, and I loved it. 5, I remember playing when it came out and kind of like not really getting it, and then I played it on Steam Deck, and I was just like, oh, this is perfect. This is like a perfect Steam Deck game. I can't believe how good this is. And so like I've really, over the last couple of years, really been getting into Metal Gear Solid way more than I had in the past. And 3 was the one that I kept hearing like, oh, this is great. And I kept trying to get into it, and I kept like getting, I don't know, I just kept falling off of it. The controls kind of like caught up to me at a certain point. I got pretty deep in the last time I played it. I think I got deep into, oh my God, I can't remember. I think I got to Grozny Grad. And then I don't know, other things came out, and then I went back to it, and I was like, oh my God, I can't wrap my head around these controls right now. I'm playing too many other things. I can't do it. So I have some experience with Metal Gear Solid 3, not entirely, but playing this was like really, I was a little worried because I was like, oh, I wonder if it's going to be kind of the same thing. I'm sure I'll finish it, but I wonder if I'm going to have the same gripes with the controls. Like, I wonder how much they've tweaked it. I wonder how much of a change this is. And I think it's pretty fundamental. I think they changed everything that they needed to while exercising a really appropriate amount of restraint. They didn't get too ambitious with it. They didn't, like Gene said, like make it this like one continuous kind of loading screenless sequence. They didn't fuck with the identity too much. I think the biggest addition I think is like the crouch walk, I guess, and the over the shoulder camera, and that's kind of it, really. But those changes alone like add so much to it, where it's like it just makes it so much more approachable, and it makes it so much more inviting. Like I'm not thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna wrestle with the controls and then I'm gonna get into it. Now I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna get into it, and I loved it. I had a really great time. I think as a package, I think it's probably one of the more complete versions of Metal Gear Solid 3 to my understanding, because there is that Ape Escape minigame. There is the Guy Savage.
It's got everything. It's got everything.
Demo, so it's got everything.
I would say it's complete. pretty much.
Yeah, compare it, because I know that there are some other versions that like either don't have that or don't have, X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
This one seems to have most of the things that people want out of Metal Gear Solid 3 intact, which is nice, and I think everything looks great. I think they did a really good job like updating the visuals while like keeping the style. I did play in like Legacy style, not controls, but Legacy style to keep that hue. And I didn't feel like it was missing the spirit or the tone of the original in any way. I really loved it. I had a great time. I'm playing through it again, so and we can talk about that. But great game.
Cool. Yeah, as I said on the show, and we'll obviously get much deeper into it, is that I really loved it, and it changed my whole view on Metal Gear Solid 3 as an entire package. I think the reason that I could tolerate Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2 so well, even today, even when, for instance, Metal Gear Solid 2 was re-released in that package from Bluepoint all those years back, it's like I was familiar with the game at the time. I played it at the time. It'll always remind me of my senior year in high school, and I had the strategy guide for it, like the print strategy guide to help me get the dog tags that I wanted and whatever, but I was just used to it. And Metal Gear Solid 1 was another one of those games that I think actually really started to introduce me to more dual stick things that we kind of take for granted today. Just a level of play that I think was a little bit more immersive for me. And so by the time I got to Metal Gear Solid 3, which was what came out when I was in college, I just didn't like it. And I was like, I just don't want to play this. I got around to it most deeply in 2007 when I moved to California, and I'm like, I had nothing to do, and I didn't really know anyone, and so I was playing a lot of games, and I was like, I really should figure this out. And I remember just being like, the camo system and the fucking eating, and it's like, ugh. And I remember comparing it a lot to what I felt like San Andreas did in Grand Theft Auto, which was this notion of going too far with the simulation. And
Right, yeah.
And being like, don't you want to sleep? Don't you want to eat?
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
feels more tedious than fun.
Right, exactly. And I felt like GTA, it's a weird comparison, but it's one I often bring up in one way, which is like, it reminds me a little bit of NES sequel stuff, where it's like every sequel has to be totally different from the original game, right? And I hated that. Although I loved those sequels, like Zelda 2, Mario 2, those are great games, but it's like, they were afraid of doing the same thing. And then by the third game in those series, so like Link to the Past, Mario 3, they're like, all right, here you go. Like, we're going to go back to like what we used to do.
We figured it out.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And like, we realized that we didn't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel. I felt like San Andreas, which is a contemporary of Metal Gear Solid 3, actually, I think it came out right before it, actually, like a few months before it. I remember playing that game. It was one of the few games I played in that year of college, because I was just doing other things, and I was like, what are we doing here? And I remember thinking of the same thing of Metal Gear Solid, where I'm like, you guys feel like I want too much from this. Like, I don't want to go to work, in a game. And for some reason, I just felt like that with the camo system and the eating system and hunting animals. And I'm like, ugh, forget this. And then I put it away. I never went back to it ever until 2021. And then I played it earnestly. People voted. We used to let people vote for knockback episodes, and they voted for us to play Metal Gear Solid 3. I would have never done it otherwise.
Dagan played Metal Gear Solid 3? No,
yeah, Dagan loves Metal Gear. Dagan and I, a good memory I have of Dagan is playing the original, although bastardized NES port of Metal Gear, which is, I love that game. I know a lot of people don't love that game, but it's so funny to see it. It's like, this is it. This is it. This is the game to this day. This is the fucking game. It's just been blown out or whatever. And I've said before, and I have it in my loft. Actually, you were here. You probably didn't see it though. I have like the original Metal Gear ad. That was like my favorite video game ad. That was in like comic books and with all the different weapons or whatever. It's one of the great ads. I love that ad. So I'm grateful, I guess is what I'm saying, for Metal Gear Solid Delta, because it just did away with some of the gameplay trappings that would bother me, thus allowing my mind to be more open to the other things that I simply wasn't into and understand a lot better now. So when you're not struggling with the controls or like limited view, the stage-based, kind of like limited view of the maps, and you're using first person to see, and I remember it on PS2, it used the actual buttons, like the analog buttons, right? Very similar to Metal Gear Solid 2, where you would like hold it down a little bit. And I was like, ugh, that's all gone because the controllers can't do that today. So and it's funny that Kojima himself is one of the guys. He always is trying to use the new thing, right? So I appreciate that he was doing that. But I guess what I'm saying again is that it freed my mind to see the game for what it was. And because I could play the game more finely, and this was a problem I had with Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. I never did. Greg and I back in the day used to talk about how much he used to love going and like, you would shake down all the soldiers and each of them would be like named something and you'd get something from them. And you can have these like complete save files. I simply couldn't play at that level. And if I could, it would be a real struggle for me to have really had to have done this. So I never even considered playing Metal Gear as anything other than a light stealth game. You go into an area, hopefully you don't get seen, you do what you have to do. If you get into a gunfight, you move on, you see the story. But this time, because the game played finely, I was like, I'm going to play this without killing anyone. And I did 2 no-death runs in the game, including a Foxhound run, which you need to do for the platinum. I got the platinum in the game, and I adored it. So from my very limited perspective of not being a huge fan of the original, this is the way for me. And for anyone that sounds like they're familiar with what I'm describing, you might want to give this game a look, because I honestly think it's one of the great experiences of the year. No doubt about it. It's just so fucking good. That's the whole thing. It's just so good. Kojima and his team are so thoughtful. It's so clever. You know how I feel about alternate history. It's all steeped in that. Where and what I love about the alternate history here is like most of it's real, and we'll get into that. But just little tweaks and supernaturalism and all the kind of stuff. It's just fucking good. And 2 things. It makes me want to play Metal Gear Solid 4, which I barely ever played. And I imagine Konami will release that next year in some sort of Volume 2 collection that they'll do.
Yeah.
The second thing is that it spins up in my mind the idea that I'm actually kind of like a bona fide Metal Gear fan, I guess, because now I really love 3 of them. I've always loved 1 and 2, but I always felt like kind of a fake fan because everyone always loved 3. Everyone loved 4. People bought PS3s for 4. I mean, they were like all over it.
I bought a PS3 for 4.
God, I feel like that was the first must-have game for the console.
It was a console seller for me. Yeah.
And huge get, and really still the only way you can play it, which is crazy. I mean, I think that's going to change, as you said, very soon. But
it's the whole reason why I still have a PS3 hooked up to my TV, just so I can play Metal Gear Solid 4, baby. It's just a Metal Gear Solid 4 machine.
And they even patched it for trophies, which is so funny. Like many years later, I think it was like 5 or 6 years after the game came out, they're like, "Oh, here are trophies." Which
I actually thought about getting the trophies for that game, and then I realized what you got to do. I'm like, "Fuck, dude!" Like I really like as you said, like you really got to fucking like lock into these games to like achieve everything. Right? It's fun and it's not too hard, but like it's a task that you really got to focus on, right?
And yeah, absolutely. And so yeah, we'll leave the high level thoughts there, but let's get into the alternate history stuff. I'm curious.
Yeah, real quick. Also, like Metal Gear Solid 3 is special to me because it was. I saw the trailer at E3. I was there at E3 when the trailer debuted, and then it was the trailer when it was showing like Raiden, and it's like, oh, Kojima's like, oh, is it going to be Raiden again from Metal Gear 3? And it's a trailer where Snake is like placing his butt really, really slowly down on the director's chair, And it was revealed like, oh my God, Hideo Kojima is back. He's directing Metal Gear Solid 3. Like that was up in the air, because he said that MGS2 is going to be the last one.
Yeah, he wanted everyone to be last. Was that 2004?
Yes.
Yeah, I was at that. That was my first E3.
Hey, we could have met back then.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? I love that kind of shit.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Like we could have passed each other or been at the same booth or something. You never know.
It's so fucking hilarious, dude. Yeah. Well, what if you bumped each other like fucking asshole or whatever,
I had to run around, dude. I was an intern at IGN at the time, so I had I was bitch work before people had FTPs and like ways for you to digitally download assets. You used to have to go to. You probably remember this. You'd have to go to every booth and get their asset discs.
Yeah, get discs.
Sometimes and game footage was literally still given to you on tape.
Yep.
And so we had to bring. Which is crazy when you think about it. And we had to bring all this huge setup and like ingest the tapes. And it was my job to go around, give people business cards, get their assets and upload them.
That's exactly it. You get the little thumb drives or definitely a CD-ROM at least, or definitely at the most.
And I still have some of the CDs like that I kept, like the Mega Man 9 assets I have and stuff, just like cool stuff like that. But now that by 2010, I would say that kind of changed and they would just be like, go to this website.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure I still have my like one of the CDs from back then too. I would have to have kept it because it was like, oh my God, dude, I was at E3, And also, I do have a signed copy of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater for PlayStation 2 by Hideo Kojima.
Sick.
And Yoji Shinkawa.
Yoji Shinkawa is a fucking
That's amazing.
man, dude.
Yeah, and this was like way before I became a games journalist. I was just a fan, and they were just in LA, and they were doing signings, and I showed up, and I got the
Yeah, that's good
autograph.
shit. Yeah,
now
I only met him
which is
one
amazing.
time. Only met him once. He usually you go to him. So if there was like an event, you would go to Japan. He was at IGN like once. Actually, you know what? I don't think that was even it. I think I met him at E3.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at like a PlayStation conference or something. Maybe they were showing Metal Gear Solid 5 or something. I don't know what it is. So I have no experience with him. But Greg, my old partner, was like a huge Kojima fan, and he has, I think probably still has some sort of relationship with him. I don't.
Yeah. I mean, when they did their whole kind of funny studio thing, like Kojima was part of their opening message or whatever.
Right.
Too, so
I was very focused on different Japanese, like, so having access to those kinds of people, it's like I made relationships with Keiji Inafune, Koji Igarashi, Hideo Baba, those kinds of people that I loved, like the more nerdy, although Kojima's very nerdy, more obscure people. So, and I cherish those. And I have those signed Mega Man games and those signed Castlevania games and all that kind of stuff. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, shout out to, just real quick, because I feel like I'll forget it. Shout out to Konami. I feel like they're kind of resurging. Something's going on over there. And Silent Hill, Metal Gear, the collections, like the Gradius collection, by all accounts, is supposed to be excellent. I think it's really overpriced, but it's supposed to be awesome. There's even a new game in it. I think a new Gradius game. So yeah, they are in Castlevania. Like, let's go.
The Castlevania Legacy collections are great.
Those are great too.
They're great.
They're really good, actually. Like a bunch of art and music and catalogs of information. It's good shit. So I'm rooting for them. But anyway, let's get into the history. Cold War, deep Cold War, just after the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1964, takes place in what I think is a fictional part of the Soviet Union called Silinoyarsk. Silinoyarsk.
Yeah,
which is along the Kazakhstan border. So even though it's fake, like if people can picture Russia, it's like if you're like in the northwest, obviously the Arctic Ocean in the front top, and then the Baltics, and then like Ukraine and Belarus and all of that, and then I think you get when it starts going to the south, like in the southern border, then you're in like Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China. So it's in that little obscure region. Russia's a huge place. No one lives anywhere in it except for mostly in Europe. So it takes place over there, and we have a little bit of the prequel with the Virtuous mission, and then it kind of puts you back into the actual operation that you're there to undertake. I dig this story, and I dug a lot deeper into it this time, and it's so good. And listening to the Knockback episode I did with Dig, and it's like I didn't understand the game at all. I actually talked a little bit about that I thought at the time, because I intentionally didn't read anything about it. I didn't know. I thought the game was a simulation. Because I was like, it took place so far before everything else, where I was like, oh, this is some sort of retelling. There's Ocelot and there's Snake and all that. And it was totally wrong, right? And I talk about that theory that when I went and read about it, I was like, oh, I totally misinterpreted this entire game. So this time I knew more about it. And so I started to really read about the depth of it. And it's so good. I love it so much. Chris, are you a Cold Warrior? Are you into this kind of sort of tense moment in American history? Is it a good, you like spy sneaking sort of, I mean, this is kind of the time and place for it. I don't know if this stuff resonates with you though, because some people really love the this tenseness of the Cold War period, and I don't know if that's something that resonates with you in fiction.
No, for sure. I mean, I like alternate history in general. I think it's why those early Assassin's Creed games I think hit so hard for me. I was just like, this is so cool. Like this is technically like, it's not real, but it's taking place in a real point in time, and these are real people to some extent. And I dig it. I think it's a great time period for a game like this. I mean, the idea of like infiltration stealth missions during the Cold War, I think is awesome. I think there's something texture wise that kind of heightens the entire thing, just knowing that. Whereas if it was any other time in history, it would still be fun and interesting, and there would be intrigue and tenseness, but like there's something about it that is interesting, and the fact that it ties in like the what really happens, and like the missile crisis is averted for X reason, and that's like a public facing reason, and it's like, oh no, the real reason is Sokolov. They wanted Sokolov. Like, so I love that shit because it makes it feel real. And it's believable somehow. What I love about this game really is that like it's so out there in like a myriad of ways, but like it's so weirdly like I believe it. I believe that they had just like a mech in the 60s that just shot. Like I don't know. I shouldn't, and I'm aware that I shouldn't, but it totally like it totally makes sense to me because it's just it's too cool not to believe. You're just like I want to believe it. Like it makes you want to give yourself to it. In some ways, because and it's written so well. I think the voice cast does a great job of just like selling it. I love those like kind of stylized cutscenes where it's not. So it's almost like painted. It's like paintings, but like there's like a slideshow. I think about the one where the Major and Snake are like in I don't know some room and they're talking about how like Russia's demanding this and he's kind of giving you the main conceit. It's after the Virtuous mission. And it's just the POV of like a security camera, but it's like slides every like 2 seconds and it kind of shows where they're going but you're never quite sure where they are in the room because it takes so long to update. It's just stylistically really, really fun. And I love the tapestry of the Cold War and anything that's alternate history and especially for that time period. That's a really, I think, underexplored period in video games, the 1960s. Does it feel like I see that all that often? The most obvious example that I can think of genuinely is like Destroy All Humans 2, which is not real. That's not even close to like a real, you know what I mean?
60s.
It's like an aesthetic.
Ironically, Wolfenstein 2, which is another alternate history game, which we were just talking about recently,
right?
I think is the one I can think of take place in the 60s. And again, an alternate history, totally twisted, fucked up world.
And it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
The other one is I think of is No One Lives Forever, the old PC first person shooter.
Yeah.
Little like kind of Austin Powers. I think maybe even before Austin Powers kind of made it in vogue. I forget exactly when those come out, but yeah, definitely very similar in vibe.
Yeah, the 60s is just a cool time. So in the 70s, early 70s, I think the 70s gets a little weird. By the time like post Vietnam, it's like, all right, I can duck out of here for 5 years. I don't really need the disco era and all this weird shit.
The 70s was the fragmentation of the flower power period, right?
Right.
Like, like Altamont happened. Someone died at a fucking Rolling Stones concert. The Vietnam War happened. So JFK is shot. The Beatles broke up. So it's like, wow, fuck the like it was kind of like the fuck the world was kind of beginning in the 70s.
Yeah. It felt there's like a reaction. I don't want to say reactionary, but something like that. Anyway. Let's hear from you, Gene. Are you a Cold War guy? Are you into the kind of the intrigue of the Soviet Union and the kind of a lot of the behind the scenes stuff? It somehow never. I feel I've said this in different contexts, I guess, but it's like you could roll the dice on the post-war relationship between the Soviet Union and the United States 10 times, and I think like maybe 8 of them come out to war. I actually think we were in one of the rare timelines where it didn't happen, and I'm curious what you make of this era and how it ties into the game.
Look, I live in a town full of spies, right? But even before that, it was always intriguing for me because that's what Kojima does so well. Like he grounds a lot of this history, like just like Chris put it so perfectly. Like it makes you want to believe that there was a tank that would propel like missiles by going really really fast and basically throwing the fucking missile at you at the country, And it's so absurd. That makes so much sense, though. Why wouldn't a tank just fucking throw a bomb over the border? Like super
It is such a crazy. I really like. If you write this down on it's like. Do you remember those troll physics?
Yeah.
Like Rage comics from like 2009, where it would be like some guy like holding a magnet in front of his car to get like infinite. Like you don't need gas anymore because the magnet attached to your car would pull it forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, we'll just shoot the missile after the tank has sped up to like 400 miles per hour. So
yeah, it's like how it's like we attach fucking rockets to it so it goes really really fast.
It's so ridiculous, but like it's so earnest. It's presented so earnestly, and I'm just like, yeah, but it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I buy it.
But I mean, yeah, the Cold War itself is so fascinating because it's like it is, I mean, that's why like Black Ops Cold War was so popular actually too, right? Because it is like there's it's perfect for our time, especially even now, literally in 2025, like we're all so conspiracy brained, and like a lot of those conspiracies were spawned out of that era of spy agencies, of paranoia, of other countries, of other, literally there's a Granin here who raises a glass to capitalism, like sarcastically, and you can just post that today and people will be like, yeah, yeah, look at that guy, and then just you just pull their own interpretations out of that, and so much of what we go through today is born out of 1960s and that kind of paranoia, which is interesting because what Kojima is saying is that so much of the modern Metal Gear universe is also born out of the era too, right? And the modern, like so much of his own fears about the modern world that he expressed in Metal Gear Solid 2 and he continues to express in Death Stranding. I think he correctly pinpointed the 1960s as like this is kind of the start of where it all began. Before the internet, before anything.
Mm-hmm.
This was the real information war, the info war before the current one. It was Info Wars 1, if anything, right?
Yeah. I agree, and the tech. I'm especially fascinated of the technologies in this era because the microprocessor isn't invented until the mid 1970s. So everything that comes before it, that's what makes the Apollo mission so insane. It's like what? Like it's not so crazy now, but it's like you did this with like individual circuits and like vacuum tubes and shit. It's just it's crazy, and that's why I love like the subtle thing, like Eva carrying around that radio with her during the game, where she has like this thing, and it's how she's communicating ultimately with the Chinese, I guess. But like it's so conspicuous, like there's no way that she can hide it.
I was talking about Arrested Development earlier, and that the Korean kid in Arrested Development, An Young, was actually secretly a North Korean spy, and he has the same fucking radio.
Crazy.
So I'm a fan.
An Young, yes,
that's hilarious.
I'm a fan of the Cold War as well. Just from like I said earlier, I feel like it was it's one of those like holy shit, how did we get through this? No one really knows if he actually said it, but I don't know if you guys know the George Patton quote that, George Patton obviously was like an amazing, American general, one of the most storied military figures in American history. But he said after World War II, we fought the wrong enemy. Have you ever heard that like quote get bandied around?
Yeah.
And I don't think it was really him if he had said it saying that we shouldn't have fought the Nazis. Obviously we had to fight the Nazis and we did, and we should have, but that like we made a deal with the devil. And whether or not that's really true or not, there was so much tension between if you read about American planning after World War II, we assumed we were going to fight the Soviets in Europe, like that it was going to go off. Like this was the next step of either the World War not really being over, or in the 50s or something turning into World War III. And that's why the proxy war started in Korea and then Vietnam and so on and so forth, which is kind of I remember this being expressed when I was in college. Like there's an idea, though I've never thought deeply about it, but that like unfortunately these awful wars of containment are the only reason that we didn't fight more directly, and that might have been the best worst option, which was to like just let the steam out, fighting proxy Chinese troops and Soviet backed militias and all these kinds of things, and never really having to confront each other. So through that lens, I think that most of what happened in the Cold War is unknown. I think we all know this, and that people kept the peace, but that things like this probably, and I'm not saying things like specifically what happens in this game, but infiltrations and kidnappings and murder and all that obviously happened all the time. And I mean, we just heard, and Gene, I'm sure you're especially familiar being in the news business, where it's like that story just broke where like we apparently sent the SEALs into North Korea in 2019 and it all went totally fucking pear-shaped, and they like killed a bunch of people. And like just
a bunch of people on that boat for no reason.
Yeah, do you know this story, Chris?
No, I haven't heard about it.
There's something like the SEALs were sent in to like North Korea by Trump in 2019 or by the Pentagon or whoever to place listening devices on, I guess, was it like Kim Jong-un's yachts or something, or something. And so the SEALs went to this place and they just found a random fishing boat, and they apparently killed everyone on the fishing boat, sunk the boat.
Jesus
because
Christ.
like they were seen basically.
Mm-hmm. Because they were seen, yeah. So
oh my god,
it's like, I guess we got to kill these fuckers then.
Holy.
So
Snake,
I bet you shit like that happened.
Devices?
I'm sorry.
No, I like that sounds so insane that it feels like it could. That's a game.
Yeah, it's like Metal Gear.
You know
it's like something that happens in Metal Gear. That's the
exactly. It's like Snake. It's like Snake. Your mission is to place listening devices on Kim Jong's yacht.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Jong's yacht.
Mm-hmm.
he's always what is it? Repeating the last thing he heard. I love that about Snake.
Oh yeah. Oh no. It's very Spielbergian that they make sure you're as clued in as possible.
It's a smart writing device, but also like I saw I don't know. I remember if it was a tweet or what, but like I remember seeing or hearing this somewhere where like I've been following the Solid Snake or the Snake method of conversation socially, and it's been genuinely helpful. Where like somebody would be like, "Oh, there's a party at Northridge," and you go, "Northridge,
huh?" Yeah,
and then it totally works.
So a lot of people attribute it to like Snake and Kojima-isms, but it's actually just reflective of Japanese language. You know, when you talk to each other in Japanese, you usually just affirm what the other person said.
Right? Yeah.
You know, so that's just them just translating that literally.
No, for sure. But it reads in a way that feels unique and actually kind of cool. Like it gives Snake. It gives Snake a personality that is distinct from other.
Yeah, he's inquisitive. He's paying attention. You know, he's attentive. Yeah. So I mean, it gives him these Japanese qualities. You know, right. And he is like part Okinawan after all. You know,
Okinawa.
And then
Okinawa, the island of blah 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 blah. You know,
right.
I mean, that's Kojima. You know, where it's like, let me just explain the whole thing that I just said. You know,
it's fun. It's fun and it's great. It's what makes it all work. But
it's nerdy. Yeah. I mean that's why Paramedic is like just over explaining movies all the time. Every time you say it, right?
God, I hate her. We'll get to her. I hate her. Just because it's like, I'll save it. We'll get to her. We'll get to all these kind of ancillary characters you talked about over the codec, but. The Cold War. So the Cold War is just interesting to me because it was like a lot of really smart and I think even-headed, level-headed people behind the scenes on both sides that diffused what seemed to be an inevitable situation. And even when things came to a head in the missile crisis, the Soviets were willing, and this is in the real world, the Soviets were willing to like lose public face to make sure that this could be, because no one knew that we made a trade with them behind the scenes. No one knew that we were like, we'll take the Jupiter missiles. And this is where the whole Sokolov thing comes in as well. It's like, and that's like the alternate history, like just a little twist. But like the Soviets themselves, the red phone being installed was like a big deal of being like, let's talk, like make sure that this shit doesn't go off. And even multiple examples on both sides people thinking nukes were being launched at them and they didn't respond. And it every time ended up being some sort of like malfunction. Where like if any one of them were, so it's an incredible level of restraint. My stepfather, my mom's husband, longtime spouse, Larry, is retired now, and he teaches actually as a professor at VCU. But he was a longtime Cold Warrior, and he was in the Navy as an intelligence officer for a long time. He's completely fluent in Russian. Like it's so funny when people talk about it around the family that the scuttlebutt is like we know some Russian people in the past. My mom was friends with Russian people in Boston, and they would say like he speaks indistinguishable real Russian, like without an accent. And it's so strange. And like, I know that he has so much in his head that he can't talk about. Right. And it's so fascinating to me. And then he worked for the FBI for many years as a linguist and stuff, and a cryptographer. But it's like, damn, dude, they were so, and he's just a normal, I don't know he's a vault, when I was younger, I used to try to get him to tell me things all the time. Like he wouldn't tell me anything, obviously. And it's like, damn, he's just a normal dude, suburban man, loves football and and it's like, dude, these people are everywhere. It's so awesome when you think about it, that did all of this important work. And so just from that perspective, I love the idea of the Cold War. And then I love the setting of, and how it kind of works into the upheaval of Khrushchev. And I don't know, are you guys into Soviet history at all? Is it anything that's like relevant to you? Like,
A little bit.
Very, very minimally. I
Yeah.
have to say.
so Nikita Khrushchev comes to power in the Soviet Union in the early 50s. And so the original leaders of the Soviet Union, once the Bolsheviks took over, were obviously Lenin and then into Stalin. And Stalin's era was a completely repressive era. Obviously, he killed many millions of his own people and purged the military and did all these things. It's one of the reasons why the Red Army, while incredibly talented and important, took a while to get going, because they like killed all their, all the people from the Russian Revolution and the people that they didn't trust and all the rest. In the early 50s, he dies, and people are, this is an important point, and part of it is that people are finally able to kind of be like, that guy kind of fucking sucked. Not us, them. And so there's this whole revisionist thing that happens where Nikita Khrushchev comes to power and says, like, we need to chill. Like, we have to, they rehabilitate tons of people, and like even posthumously, they soften their relationship with the United States. They're more open, and obviously things are happening that are bad. Like at the time, Korea is kind of popping off still. Vietnam will pop off later, and things in Southeast Asia. But that is the era in which this is all happening. And this is important because there's a phone call, which is so fucking awesome, between Kojima-ism between Khrushchev and LBJ, who's the president of the United States, once JFK gets assassinated. I think that happens in the Kojima timeline in 63, which is when it happens in the real world. So we're a year after that. And the reason I'm bringing up Khrushchev's kind of softness, and I don't mean that as an insult, comparable to Stalin, is that he gets on the phone in this sequence and says, like, did you do this? If you didn't, we'll give you time to prove it.
Yeah.
And thus, Naked Snake is deposited into USSR as Khrushchev knows he's there, or at least knows that they're going to be doing something about, like, to try to figure this thing out. I love that shit.
That's so cool. It is. Yeah.
So it all matters. In other words, if like a hardliner, because when Khrushchev dies, Brezhnev takes over and he's more hardcore. So then it swings back the other way. And so you can imagine something like this happening, and then thinking about Metal Gear's chronology throughout that time until 1989, 1991, where it all falls apart. So just from a history nerd perspective, I thought that was kind of cool because it rings true. They were talking to each other. They did take their weapons out of Cuba the year before. In Metal Gear, we did give them Sokolov. Because they really want the weapon, the super weapon that launches missiles in a very peculiar way. So yeah, that's the good, to me, that's the good shit. Where I'm like, cool, very, very cool. And I love the setup. And I don't know, you probably know more about this than I do, Gene, is like, Kojima is obviously a deep student of history. I mean, clearly. Or at least he has people advising him on all these things, because it's just so obscure, a lot of it. A lot of it is, and just, again, it's not like Resistance is alternate history, but it's crazy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like everything happens in Snake Eater that will feed into like the instability that Phantom Pain is about, right? All the stuff in Africa and Rhodesia and Afghanistan as well.
Right. Yeah, it's excellent. So, what do you? Let's go back to the story here, Chris. What do you think of some of these characters that we have here? And we can obviously pull more at the story strings as they relate to them. Let's talk about Naked Snake himself. So, Naked Snake, young man, really important genetically, ultimately, to the outcome of the way things go. What do you make of these characters? I mean, talk to me however you want about some of the protagonists.
No, yeah, I mean, it is a credit to David Hayter that I like Snake so much. I just love his delivery. It's so specific that I can't help but love that character. But yeah, I mean, being able to see like Big Boss before Big Boss is interesting, and where it all leads, and I guess having the context of where everything goes later with just the, what is it, Les Enfants Terribles?
Yeah, right.
It's cool to see how it all starts, and seeing characters like Zero and Sigint, who I think is where's Sigint is like in another game that I can't remember what other Metal Gear.
I'll look it up. I don't know well enough.
He was in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah, that's the one I haven't played. But it's cool just to see. It's just very thoughtful, like the way it's put together and the way characters are utilized and like how they're depicted, and there's so much double crossing going on. Like seeing Ocelot this early is fun and charming, and then that relationship kind of beginning is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess like I really don't. I don't know. I struggle to conjure a character that I didn't really, really enjoy interacting with. Even Paramedic, who is just like, it's always like, oh, hey, Snake, have you seen The Secret Life of Walter Mitty? Or like whatever the fuck. And you're just like, no. It's weird as fuck that this it is one of those things where it's like it does. That's a conversation that does ultimately kind of take you out of whatever the fuck. It's a very unimmersive line of conversation. Like every single time you talk to her, like it yanks you out, and it's just basically Kojima being like, "Stop playing my game. I want to tell you about a movie I saw. I want to tell you how cool it is and how I think it's really cool. And by the way, I want to write about it in a way that makes it seem like I know the future." It's always like, oh, I bet they're still going to be making Godzilla movies in like 20, 30 years from now. And it's like, well, that's not... It kind of... retroactively, it feels more pretentious than I think it maybe was, because we all talk about how Metal Gear Solid 2 was like weirdly prescient. And so Metal Gear Solid 3 being like, oh, I bet they're going to be doing this in 30 years. Well, it's like, yeah, but you know that. It feels like you're cheating a little bit. But... I loved every single codec call. I loved every single, like the Cobra unit. I think is great. I think
awesome.
Big Boss, or the boss is great. I think Volgan is awesome. That scene where he's like punching the barrel, and the dude's in it, and it's just like, this is wild.
I don't know why I like that scene so much too, but it's so cool to see him just punch a barrel and beat a guy to death inside the barrel. I don't know why that's cool. But it is. It is.
Right? Yeah, I think it's just the obfuscation, because I mean, obviously, if you've played it before, you know that that's coming. But like, I can imagine that if you didn't know, the escalation is so quick of him just like taking his anger out on this inanimate object, and then you find out, oh, that character I just interacted with is dead, and the way it happens and how
his nice shoes. Fuck, Glennon,
Yeah, it's not gratuitous because it is kind of off. It lets you kind of imagine, like, what the fuck is going on in that barrel, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a weak character in this entire experience. I think there's no. I also just don't think there's much fat. Like, there's one gameplay sequence that I think, you didn't have to do this, and we'll get to that. It's much later in the game. It's towards the end, but.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. We'll get to it when we get to it. But like, even in that context, like, I still care about these characters and what they're doing, and I want to see where it goes, and I'm along for the ride. But Naked Snake is just a great protagonist. I love how like sometimes he's kind of depicted as like not dumb, but like inexperienced, I guess. There's like
goofy.
a little goofy. Like there's if you call Major Zero at some point, like I can't remember exactly when in the game it is, because all the names, whenever you go into a new area, to me it's just like, I don't know what that says.
I don't know. Yeah.
I can't pronounce that, so I'm not even going to commit this to memory. But Major Zero is giving you instructions like, you're going to want to head through the base to the north, and then you'll infiltrate the base, and the mountain should be somewhere to the north. And it's like, so just head north. Like, it's just, I don't know. He's fun.
And then it's like there's like just a small silence, and then he's like, "Yes, Snake."
Right? Yeah. It's fun. It's I don't know. It's goofy. It's serious. It's melodramatic. It's somehow all of it's balanced, and none of it really takes me out. I think it's just really well crafted characters, and really well acted and performed characters as well. I think. Not just from an acting perspective, but like voices. Like every character has a very distinct way of speaking, and a very, very distinct voice, and very distinct passions. I love when Major Zero barges in on the conversation about James Bond. And they're like, "Oh, what don't you like about it?" What like he's like offended by it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Like it's a cultural offense for him,
Right. It's a great cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Probably maybe my favorite actually. In I'd have to think about it maybe a little bit further, and obviously I haven't played 1 or completed 4, but like I would have to think about it. But like in my mind, it's pretty up there.
1 definitely has a better cast of villains, but 3 is up there for sure.
Yeah.
What do you? Well, let's talk about the villains. I mean, more deeply if you want. Pull from these threads, Gene. What say you?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about Naked Snake a little bit too.
Yeah, please talk about
Naked Snake is so interesting because he is still Solid Snake. Sometimes, like when you play the game, like he still has Solid Snake's mannerisms because it's still David Hayter. So it does like this really interesting trick where it's like you're able to separate him from the character that you know, but also that he's familiar enough that it makes going through the story feel easy and cool and fun, and that was really the one of the wildest tricks about Snake Eater. It's just that this is Snake, but it's not Snake, and like he is goofier than Solid Snake. Solid Snake was a little bit more serious. Solid Snake was hornier, that's for damn sure. Naked Snake is like asexual. He's like, I'm not into this right now. Not maybe after the mission.
Yeah. It's one of the best scenes. It's one of the best scenes in the game when he's like, when Eva's flirting with him, and he's like, he just grabs the gun. He's like, "This is an amazing."
Yeah, he's just like gooning for the gun. He's a gun gooner.
It's been polished to a perfect sheen.
Yeah, that's what I love about Delta. So, like, one thing about Delta specifically is that, like, I love that they kept the animations because I thought this was so weird for me. But I got used to it as I continued the game. But like it's like I played Snake Eater so much that I'm so used to seeing all these weird little animations of Snake just like obsessively like looking over the gun, or like even when they leave that room and Sokolov is doing like these weird like hand gestures or whatever like that, like the fireball Kamehameha gestures. And it's like, why is he doing that? I still don't know what that's for, right? But it's like so interesting to see all of these weird little animations, these PS2 animations in like the Unreal Engine skin. So like the way I see it is like, because like it reminded me, Metal Gear is a cartoon series, basically. Like we are seeing cartoon villains, and I'll talk. This is a good transition to villains, but like the villains are very cartoon-like. They are super mutants. This guy fucking is shooting bees at you like a machine gun out of his arm. This is a cartoon series, a Saturday morning cartoon series, and they look like Unreal Engine characters. It's like if someone made the original X-Men 1997 cartoons, but made it live action, but kept all the original like cinematography and like the actions and the shots and everything like that. But it's just real people instead of the cartoon.
I was telling a friend of mine that it's like if G.I. Joe was like an adult kind of like taken like more like skewed more towards like an older demographic. Like it feels absurd.
I'm so glad that you mentioned G.I. Joe because it's like, and of course we got Colin here, the G.I. Joe connoisseur, the master here, because like that's like I felt that back in the day, and Delta reminded me of that while I'm playing Delta. It's like I am fucking loving playing with my goddamn toy soldier right now. This is G.I. Joe, the video game for me. I'm fighting the fucking Cobra unit. They're called Cobras for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. And I'm a guy named John, who my cat is named after, Jack, actually,
Yeah.
And I'm just a little soldier running through these little soldiery environments. I'm in the jungle area, and I'm at the base area, and now I'm going to fight the Cobra unit. So I fucking love the Cobra unit. I think they're fantastic. They're such a weird cast of characters. I think the weakest one is probably the Fear.
Yeah,
he doesn't really do much, and his fight isn't like.
And he's kind of like Vamp.
Cool.
He's kind of like Vamp, where it's like we already have a Vamp.
You already have Vamp. You're not even gay. Like it's not that interesting. Like you're just a guy with like a wild tongue. You look like the meme today. Like
all the other ones are unique. Like he's the one that I feel like has a facsimile in another game, which is why I didn't take to him. So
but his fight is still cool anyways because it is like a little mini Predator action sequence, right? And that's what like Kojima also does so well is that like he's able to like create these interesting different action scenarios, with the boss fights, the end is perfect because I've always been obsessed with legendary snipers in real history, I'm forgetting the names right now because I'm old, but like, you know, there was a sniper in Vietnam who just stood there for like days and months, and he racked up like a huge body kill. So like when I got to the end, I was like, oh, that's what Kojima's referencing right there. He's referencing that shit, and now I get to play it, you know, and I get to have like an hour and a half. Like, you know, I will never forget the first time I fought the end back in like 2000 whatever. And it was like, this is a 90-minute boss fight. I've never seen anything like this before. This is incredible. And it's like, it's barely interaction. I'm just like walking around trying to find this guy, you know? And then the next sequence is like a predator sequence where you fight the fear, you know? And like he's jumping around from tree to tree, like leaping like the predator. And you gotta like turn on your thermal goggles. That's completely missable, by the way. You can just miss that. You can just miss collecting that, which is so funny. And it incentivizes the player to go back again. It's like, oh, well, I missed the thermal goggles. Let me play the game again, get the thermal goggles, and try that fight again. You know, and then you know, there's the Fury, which I know is your favorite, Colin.
Oh, he's so cool, man. I've serendipitously got some dope screenshots of him during the fight. I've played the game so many times. I was like, I just love that fight and that character.
Yeah, and you know, Chris, you didn't play Metal Gear Solid 1, but the Fury is definitely like a redo. So the end is a redo of the Sniper Wolf fight from Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah.
And the Fury is a redo of the Raven fight, where it's like this cool, you know, not really labyrinth, but like it's hallways and walls. And like he's stalking the hallways as you're trying to like kind of like stealth up on him and shoot him. It's such a fucking cool fight. Like, you know, and you know, like, and Colin, you mentioned this that you wish there was more on the Fury. I wish that too. Like I hang on to like every little thing that the Fury says, including like when he's like about to explode or when he's like about to like wig out like on Snake. You hear the radio chatter of the blast off like NASA chatter or like the Russian like radio chatter from the space mission. And it's like it makes no sense. Where the fuck is this radio chatter coming from? But it's like adding to his character and to his vibe, and like you just like you're fighting the spaceman. This guy represents the space era right now. So fucking sneak up to him and just shoot him in the back with an M16, you know? So awesome.
Yeah, mission control, I'm coming home.
Yeah. And he's just talking to himself, mission control, I'm coming home, you know? It's like referencing, you know, history and David Bowie and also just like the Raven all at the same time. Like that's like Kojima's genius is that like he's like, well, I love my characters and I love the characters in history and I love like movie stuff. Let me just put all that shit together in one sequence, and hopefully you like it.
The way you interact with the fights too is so fascinating. Like there's a lot more tools in Metal Gear Solid 3 than I gave it credit for, I guess, because I'm obviously I played Metal Gear Solid 5 already, and that sandbox is absurd. Like that's probably like the best sandbox that I've probably ever experienced. But and I always viewed the earlier Metal Gear Solids as like, you know, they're simpler, and so like you can't really do crazy shit, but like you can do some pretty crazy. The fact that you can kill the end before you even fight him when he's like sleeping in the wheelchair when you walk up on the base, if you find the sniper rifle beforehand, is like, this is so sick. And the fact that you can wait real time for him to just die because he's so old is fucking amazing. It's like, so that is so sick.
I just did that for the first time last night because before this podcast, because I've been doing a second run of Metal Gear Delta, and I ended it at the end fight, and I was like, oh well, I don't want to fight this right now, and Silk Song's coming out, so let me just play Silk Song for like a week.
That's literally what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, and then I booted the game back up, and I was like, oh shit, I'm at the end fight. Has it been a week? And I loaded back up, and sure enough, the end just fucking explodes because I waited a week and he died in that week as I was playing Silk Song.
I mean, I loved that too. I never did it, but I read about it even back in the day. It's up there. The end, I think specifically the boss fight is up there in cleverness with the Psycho Mantis fight, which is of course the most famous fight in Metal Gear, I think still. And all of the Cobra unit themselves are just, it's dope. I love, and maybe it's because of my love of G.I. Joe and Mega Man and shit like that. I love like roster like bad guy things where it's like, here are my lieutenants and they're all going to come after you one after the other, you know, and you're going to have to go through a dungeon and then fight him and he'll capitulate and then there'll be 3 of them left. And many of my favorite games are like that. And that's not super uncommon, but I really love that. Shinra Or
is that
yeah.
is that why maybe you take to Far Cry as well, like modern Far Cry games?
Yeah.
Because I feel like Far Cry has that kind of scenario, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All
Like I
different
love,
characters.
yeah, it does, especially Far Cry 5 and 6. Definitely
Yeah.
have that where like you would go around and kill the family members in 5 and they would all be on the map and you can kind of do them in different orders as I remember. Yeah, I just dig that sort of thing. Deathloop had that sort of thing. I just like, so it's not an uncommon thing. I really take to it and I love it. I've said this before. I mean, because our role-playing game at Lilium is so far away still, but like I have those kinds of characters in the game. It's like they must be in this, that we must have that kind of structure where like there's a bunch of people that work for the person and
it's a fun storytelling mechanic. Like Kill Bill has like, like these are Bill's lieutenants that now I got to do revenge on. Mega Man, of course, Foxhound from the first game,
right?
But like it gives you like a sense of progression, a sense of accomplishment, and then like just another great opportunity to create new characters and storylines, right?
The thing that disappoints me in this game, if anything, even today with Delta, which I loved, is unlike Foxhound. And even to a degree, what was going on in Metal Gear Solid 2, I just don't feel like they really let us know any of them at all. Even, like, obviously we make fun of the Fury. You don't see the Fury at all, except for when you fight him. Like, he's referenced.
At all. Yeah. He's a surprise, like member of Cobra. You're just like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? You know?
Because I think one of them says at this point, he's like, I think only the Fury is left, or whatever. And that's a reference even to the Sorrow, because the Sorrow is dead, although you do deal with him too, which is cool. So, and that's another incredibly clever fight. Like,
yeah,
absolutely amazing idea.
Also, we're spoilers free for this game, right? It's okay.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
it's the review discussion.
This is Spoilercast. Yeah, that's right. So.
Yeah. Right. I wouldn't talk like this openly if we weren't here.
The Sorrow kind of hallway of the dead thing is very cool and totally bit me in the ass, because like the first time I played through any Metal Gear game, really, like I'm used to the older games where like, look, I'm gonna fumble with the controls and I'm going to get spotted, and if I get spotted, I was saying on the main show, I was like, I got to go Frank Reynolds on everybody. I'm blasting. I saw him and I started blasting, and it's okay, that's fine. And so by the time I even killed the End's parrot.
Oh yeah,
he shows up too.
Yeah,
he shows up too, and I was like, I can't believe that is so cool that happens. That like. Because I thought like, oh, dude, I'm going to kill this parrot and I'm going to eat it. I wonder if that's going to piss him off. And it did. And it does, I think. He definitely notices when the parrot's gone.
Fucking parrot.
But
that was the PS2 original too. Like all this stupid shit is in the PS2 original, by the way.
No, of course. Yeah. And then it shows up in the hallway of the dead. And I'm like, motherfucker, you too? Oh my God.
You're haunting me too? Oh my God. Yeah.
What have I done? Dude, it was crazy. It looked ridiculous. It looked like a concert.
Yeah.
For me when I went in there, it was really like I was but no, it's really, what a highly replayable game too. Like, just like for those reasons, obviously, like you can have a completely different interaction with this boss fight, or you can miss all of these like key tools, and I don't know, man. It's the boss fights and the Cobra unit, Volgan, I think is hilarious because he's so clear. He's the most G.I. Joe of anybody, I think.
Definitely.
Like,
totally.
He's like straight up. He's like a Marvel villain, straight up. He's like, I'm electric because, like, I don't know.
Yeah, do they ever explain how that happens?
No,
I don't think they explain any of it, really. Like, they don't, like, he shoots bees.
Right.
And you're just like, okay, I buy it. I don't know why, but like, I'll believe you.
Yeah, the Sorrow can commune with the dead, and it's like, that's just how he was born. You know,
it's the Pain, right? The Pain is the bug guy.
Yeah, the Pain.
The Pain is the bee guy. Yeah,
yeah. He shoots bees out of his mouth at you at a certain point. And you're just like, all right,
dude. Look, can I just say this as well before I forget, because it's in my mind and it's so important, is that the best part of the game is when the Pain is around Ocelot and the Hornets are attacking him and he's just using his guns.
Oh yeah,
to kill all the
like he's just, dude, it's so good.
I love that cutscene, dude. It's so funny.
So I had to throw that out there. Yeah,
that's his superpower, just fucking deflecting the bees with his gun.
It's so fucking good. It's so good. I love it. I just love. So yeah, the villains. I just wish we got to know them a little bit better. But I guess you know them as well as you know Firefly or fucking Metalhead in G.I. Joe. So it's not It's not that different, but I just, what I'm fascinated by, and you might have heard me say this, Gene, on Sacred, I don't know if Chris remembers, is I'm fascinated that they fought in World War II.
Yeah.
That's to me that, and I actually said that in the Knockback episode. So I'm like, oh, 2021 Colin was in the same place. It's just hysterical to imagine that these people were leveraged by the Allies and literally fought the Nazis and fought the Japanese, presumably. And so you can imagine the pain literally doing this, I guess. And people saw it. It's just a very interesting and weird and campy. It's very campy. It's
100% campy. It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder how Hitler died in the Metal Gear universe. You know what I mean? Because for it to just be how it is in real history, I feel like would be like that can't be true.
Yeah, that would be disappointing.
Yeah, he must have been eaten by like a whale that came out of the ground or something. Some nonsense.
Yeah. But Metal Gear lore is so dense that this game reminded me again, because I always forget this detail, is that like a Revolver Ocelot is the boss's and Desaro's son, and he was born. Yeah. He was born like as the boss was fighting during World War II, like in the battlefield, and she just had to like fucking cut him out. Like that's one of the hardest like births of all time. Like I was born in the trenches of World War II, you know. Yeah, and that's Revolver Ocelot.
Right,
that's the main character of the Metal Gear series, basically. You know.
Yeah, really. Kind of, you know, he lucked out not losing his hearing immediately. As a baby in a war zone,
as a tender young baby in a war zone. So, am I understanding that that's the boss's kid, right?
Yes, Revolver is the boss's kid. Yeah.
Okay, and the Sorrow is the dad.
The Sorrow is the dad. Yeah. So that's why in MGS2, that's how you're able to explain away why Liquid can take over Revolver's mind by grafting his fucking arm onto him.
Oh yeah,
because that is like remnants of the Sorrow's power of like how Revolver can somehow commune with the dead. It's like, oh, my fucking arm is attached. Like, oh fuck, my dad. You know, my dad's genes are taking over.
That's so interesting.
Right there.
Yeah. Right. So. Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah,
I never made that connection.
Yeah.
By the way, I have it up here. I mean,
it's really subtle in how they showcase the Sorrow and everything. But like that's why when you see the boss like nod at Revolver, like she's like kind of like halfway acknowledging like, well, you're my kid. Like fucking handle this. Take care of my other kid, Jack Snake. You know, kind of deal. Like they're both sons of the boss, basically. You know.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Like I understand the timeline. Probably still not completely, but I understand it better than I ever did this time around. Yeah, it's cool. It's very clever. I wonder how much he knew between games, because as you said, he always said that he didn't want to do more, wasn't going to do more, and yet he kept releasing more and more. So I just wonder how much of that kind of played through. Or if a lot of it is retconning, which I think is also cool. As long as no one knew the answer to begin with, so the retcon is only for your own internal Bible, and then you say whatever it is.
I think generally with great works like this, it's usually like, here's an eccentric choice. We'll figure out a way to explain it later. Yeah. And then you realize like, oh, that's a cool, that could explain this. Let's do that. That's also, that's how, what is it? That's how Breaking Bad was written entirely. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I remember listening to interviews about them. It's like, yeah, we didn't know how literally any of it was going to end. We wrote ourselves. Yeah, I think because they were going to kill Jesse in like the first season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I remember that.
And then they were like, oh, everybody likes him. We should keep him. So like, I think a lot of those things end up just kind of being like, well, we wrote ourselves into a corner, and how do we write ourselves out of it? And if you're a good writer, you can make something really awesome. With that, and you know, bad writers can't, obviously.
Yeah, and not to spoil MGS4, because I know, Chris, you haven't played it, but like MGS4 is like a lot of like rewriting a lot of history or whatever, and
that's what I heard.
Maybe retcons, but it's like, oh, we have a lot of shit to explain, basically. You know.
Yeah, it's like wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap that shit up.
Wrap it up.
We're on the PS3 now, baby. You know.
Yeah, yeah, man. This just makes me want to play all like the rest of it. I already played Metal Gear Solid 2 kind of recently, so like I'll probably Metal Gear Solid 4 is obviously coming, so I'll just wait for that. But it makes me want to delve into 5 again. with like new context.
It does make
'Cause
me
I already love 5 anyway.
going to 5.
It's like permanently installed on my Steam Deck. But like, man, what a cool world that's like built out in this.
Agreed on all of that. There's so much more to say about the characters as well. And I was saying earlier, I just wanted to get this out, which was I didn't realize that Sigint was Donald Anderson.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
the DARPA chief.
Yeah,
Sigint is the DARPA
I
chief.
never even made that connection, to be honest.
Yep.
Um,
Also, like the fights in Delta are like, you know, to the credit of the new camera perspective, like some of these fights are really, really cool in the new the camera perspective. You know, just being able to like naturally look around for the fear as who's being the predator, or stalking the halls down the halls with the fury, and just being able to like peek out and everything like that, and not having to worry about like, oh, I gotta lean, because in MGS3 you gotta lean against the wall to be able to really see the down the hallway, right? Whereas versus here, you can just look down the hallway, and it's kind of fun that way. You know, it's fun the other way too. But like, I get why this is really immersive to be able to just
you
look
could
down
make
the
the
hallway and
argument,
see the hall down the hallway, right?
You could make the argument that the new controls are so good that they trivialize some of the fights.
Totally.
the game's
But I don't-
absolutely easier. Like absolutely, positively easier. I think played like.
But that's why like I think Virtuous did like a good job in like making like some of the animations like really slow and to kind of like balance that a little bit, you know, to kind of give it a feel of like it's still like an older game, and these fights are balanced for something that isn't that doesn't require you to like you're not a Bungie character, you're not a Destiny character here,
right?
just bouncing around shooting all over the place, you know, like it's kind of cool. And also like the Vulcan fight, you know. They added new CQC animations to the Vulcan and the boss fight as well. But the Vulcan fight, like, you know, before it was like top down, and now it's like it feels like a proper arena fight. Like he's like shooting guns, like the machine gun at you, and like you can act like when you're like dodging it. I actually feel like the dodge feels a little bit more realistic now because of the more grounded, like on the level camera angle. And when he's like shooting sparks at you, like, oh, this shit feels like a real boss fight now, and like a real fight. And like and then he rushes at you, and then you'd counter with the CQC and one of the new CQC animations. So cool. Like Delta, I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that Delta is the best version of this game, because there's so many cool little things that just make this so much fun to play, you know, and so much fun to experience.
Just think that, again, from my perspective, this 3D demands more control modernization. It just by the nature of the games, right? Like Mario 3 and Super Mario World still feel perfect, but they're 2D games. I think if you know, Mario 64 doesn't quite feel as perfect. I know how to play it because it's a very familiar game, but you can make the games much tighter in that game, you know? And I think that that's what they've kind of accomplished with this in its own way. So it is going to be up to everyone's preferences. And it's important to note you can play with the old style controls, and
totally.
So
that's what I love about this game. It's like, it's actually like really respects the history. So it's like, I have zero problems with the game whatsoever, honestly.
Yeah. Same. As far as the fights themselves, so we talked a little bit about the characters. We talked more about the Cobra unit than like we learn about them in the game at this point. I love the pain fight, just in that it does take advantage of the water and the idea of hiding from bees and then coming up and is it still? I assume everyone's been in that situation before, where you kind of like die, you know, there's a bee harassing you in a pool and you dive under and you're kind of waiting it out and hoping it's not there, and and you come back up. And so I that was actually on my Foxhound run. That was like the hardest fight, because the first time I did a no kill run on normal difficulty, and then I did a Foxhound run, which is extreme difficulty, and that was probably the most trouble I had. And it was discouraging to me, Gene, because I was like, maybe I don't have what it takes to do this, you know. And then I finally got through it. It probably took 25 tries or something. And then I finally got through it, and then it got easier. Like, I don't think I died on the fear. I didn't die on the end. I think I died on the fury a few times. And then Volgan was the only other fight I had where I was like, this is pretty tough. But once you really learn it, it's like you can do a CQC move where you you can catapult off of him or roll over him and damage him when he's on the ground, and it makes the fight go quicker. So, and then the stuff with the Metal Gear, the Shagohod or whatever, and all the rest is somewhat trivial and easy. And the end can easy. And the end can be kind of spoofed pretty easily as well. So, or not the end, the boss. So, so yeah, just throwing that out there about the actual fights themselves, that ironically I had the most problems in the beginning.
Yeah, no, you're right that the pain would be the hardest. Because like, it's the only one that actually asks you to like directly like engage with him, like other than Vulcan, right? And he's just a second fight, you know.
But
The
I
revolver
persevered.
fight was fun. I love that it's the only fight. It's just the first fight, and that's the only fight you get of him. you know?
Right, that's true. Yeah, that fight was. Yeah, that fight can be tough too. But if you just stay hidden, so his people can't get you because he's got his own guys like taking pot shots at you, which is
Use
pretty
the
cool.
bees. Use the bees.
Yeah,
overhead.
the bees, right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So yeah, shout out to the villains there, and shout out to Ocelot. Yeah, Volgan's great as well. The boss. What do you guys think of the? It's interesting that she's a woman in this time. There's like a Battlestar Galactica like sexlessness in this world, which I'm somewhat interesting. It's one of the tweaks to the history. What do you make of that, Chris?
No, I mean, I think it's. I will say it's a little distracting because when the boss speaks, I just hear Diane Simmons from Family Guy because that's who it is. So it's like the news lady from Family Guy.
Oh, that's interesting. It is her. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
So I'm just like, I understand. Like I understand it, and I'm in. But like this is, it's just I notice it.
That's funny.
But
and it was recently pointed out that Ava is actually the voice of the Little Mermaid.
Right, she like kept that a secret.
She kept that a secret because Ava was too sexy, so they just changed her name for the game.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's like, no, that's the girl that says sings Under the Sea, or not Under Sea, but you know, fucking whatever Little Mermaid song it is. I love the Little Mermaid.
I'm pretty sure it is Under the
Part
Sea.
of this world or whatever is
Part of this world, yes.
Oh, part of your world, yeah.
Part of your world, yeah. She's singing Part of Your World, and the next one she's super horny and wants to bounce on Jack Snake. Yeah,
right.
That's so crazy.
And it was long assumed it was her, right? But it was never confirmed. Like there was just she denied it or whatever. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
so interesting.
I think people figured out that it was her voice. You know,
Did she go by like a pseudonym? I guess like I know
it
a lot
was
of
a pseudonym.
Yeah, it was a pseudonym.
I know. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I know a lot of the original Metal Gear Solid like 1 cast did that, except for David Hayter.
Yes,
And then eventually things got okay, and everybody was like more.
Yeah.
Man,
I always love that the voice of Vamp is also Phil Lamar, is the same guy who gets his fucking head blown off at the back of the seat in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
like that's interesting.
That's just like,
everywhere.
That's just like that dude has just been everywhere, like in pop culture, including in the backseat of Samuel Jackson and John Travolta's car.
Yeah, but oh god, no. I mean, I think the story of the boss in general, and just like the mantle that gets passed down, and like the cycle that kind of plays in through the rest of the series, I just find like really fascinating. Like the fact that like, you know, oh, you're gonna take down the boss and then you become it, and then a snake will rise to take you. Like I think it's so cool. I think it's so fantastical, and it's so. I don't want to say anime necessarily, but it is kind of like just this very, very storybook, almost like a fable, but it's like playing out in like a contemporary kind of playground where there's, you know, it's Soviet Russia and the Cold War and the Chinese government and the philosopher's legacy and just all this wild shit. But in the background, there's this almost kind of cosmic cycle.
Like fate.
Yeah, and it's so cool, and I love the setup and how the entire Metal Gear series is basically like formed out of just people trying to realize the world that the boss wanted, and having so many different interpretations of what that means. And you know, it's what a cool device, and what a cool character to be like the inciting incident. I think so, I will say, not that I dislike it, but I do think she's probably the most clumsily written. I think like the fact that early on, like when you first talk to her, she's giving this like philosophical lecture, like immediately, like off the rip, is kind of like, it's not abnormal for Kojima, but like even within the realm of like the rest of the game, and even like within the realm of like MGS2, like it feels a little early to be doing this. You know,
like we just met.
Yeah, we just like, I just
take me to dinner first.
Yeah, there's only the times, and I'm like, all right, well, a high would be fine.
She comes off really aggressive.
Yeah.
At the start.
Yeah,
Of the game.
it's like really strange. I still like it. I think it's
It's interesting because like that first codec conversation is like 90 minutes long.
Yeah, it's like it's mega heavy-handed. Not that I don't mind a heavy-handed monologue. I think they're some of the best parts of Metal Gear Solid. Actually, are the heavy-handed monologue.
Definitely.
I love the 1 and 2. I love like how many of them you can find in 5 and like the tape, the cassette tape. I dig that shit. I just felt like it was such an immediate. It was like off the rip, where you're like, oh hi, I haven't seen you in forever. And then they go, and the person goes like, "Hey, did you know that there's no such thing as objective moral truth?" I'm like,
okay, mom. All right.
Well, a simple hello would have sufficed, but like I understand.
There's
She's a great character though.
Yeah, she's really interesting. Like I like the battle. I like the Battlestar Galactica. Again, it's always my reference point for that sort of stuff. Like where it's just like this a sexlessness where it upends assumptions about gender in certain times, or like what certain things would be or what certain people would be, and it doesn't even make mention of it. So it's not like girl power or anything like that. And not that there's anything wrong with that either, but it's just like, no, this is kind of just the way it is. No one gives a shit.
Right. It's not like an Avengers moment, right? Like where like they just kind of have all of them show up. Dude, it's so lame when they all just like show up and they're like, it's us, the women, and you're just like, relax, just do it. You can just do it and it's cool. You know, you don't have to
People will notice. Oh, it's all the girls fighting now. Cool. You know, and like that's rewarding for the audience to discover that for themselves, as opposed to just blunt force like hit you over the head. Like, hey, this is the women's sequence, by the way. Now, you know,
right.
And that's why like a lot of like people ascribe like MGS3 and the boss as like not the woke version of doing like, you know, gender equality or whatever. You know, because as you said, like, you know, they're just not trying. It's just like, here is the boss, you know, and this is who she is, and this is the story. This is her story, you know.
And I just love the whole CQC thing. It's very weird, because someone's like, "Is that kung fu?" or something like that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no,
that was a revolver. It's like, what is that stance?
Yeah.
no more jujitsu, okay? I fucking love revolver.
I love that they give like the name of it in universe is proper noun. Close quarters combat.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if there was like a proper noun called like, oh, what's your favorite meal? And it's like proper noun food. You know, like it's just like, what do you mean? What is that? That doesn't mean that's all fighting. That's every fighting is CQC generally. But they treat it so earnestly. It's like, I invented CQC. I'm like, I don't know if that's actually possible.
Yeah,
because it's the
60s. Well, she invented it in the 40s, right? Which is so funny. Like you can just again, like
right,
that's what makes it fun to imagine these fucking people in World War II,
right?
And like you got the pain over here shooting bees at Nazis. you got the fear like tonguing other folks, and then you got the boss like just running down the middle, just like parrying everybody, you know, and like disarming the weapons, you know.
I just love the premise of like throughout all the Crusades, there was no like close quarters battles happening at all. Like, it was all just like trebuchets and like spears and arrows. Like I know that's not literally what it means, but it comes across like that, like at a surface level, and it's just vaguely amusing.
Well, I do love the reverence that there is for it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's very self-referential, which I think is cool, but. Yeah, it is funny. So she's a cool character. I love the disguise. A lot of the G.I. Joe like visual aspects of these characters come out more in the Unreal Engine 5 kind of remake, in that she has like the upside down knife on her like chest. I used to love that kind of those things on the molds where you can't use the gun, but it's there. It gives them a little bit of. So if you're playing with them and he doesn't have a gun, it's like, well, he has a gun there, and then he pulls it out. Now you have it in your hand. And Snake with his gun, with his knife on his leg, is another one of those. I always love those kind of little touches. I used to do that when I was a kid, you know,
right?
I'd have like the little, because when I was a kid, and probably the same for you guys too, it still wasn't, you didn't have to have like the crazy colored things or whatever. So like they looked real. So I had like the like knife sheath on my leg with like a rubber band around it, you know, or like my favorite G.I. Joe. So I think the design and the character design especially really pops in this particular version of the game. It's not the most beautiful game, and I know that people have had a problem with its performance. I said ad nauseum that I just didn't know what anyone was talking about, but I don't have a great eye for that, like the subtleties of that sort of thing. I just think the game is so slow in plotting that's sort of, I did notice it when there were explosions.
Yeah, like
significant frame rate drops. But
during the Shagohod, like when you're
Yes.
driving and you're shooting all the explosive canisters or whatever, that's when I noticed it the most. But that's such a short section. I did notice there were performance issues, and I did notice it. It just
did you play
like
it on?
You said,
did you play it on Pro?
I did play it on Pro.
Oh, okay, I didn't know if you played it on PC.
I played it on Pro.
And
okay,
I played it on
so we all
Pro because I was, and you know, it's there, but like again, it's not Destiny or like Doom or something where like that kind of thing would be so deeply disruptive to the experience. Like it's a stealth game. Like I'm spending most of my time lying down in tall grass.
Yeah.
You know, waiting for like it's really not that. I didn't notice it really impacting me in any real way. Although I will say, like even as minimal as the performance issues were here, if these exact performance issues were in something like a proper like action like title, it would probably I would probably be really annoyed by it.
Yeah, sure.
But it's fine. Like I think it works. By the way, like on the visual front, like I think parts of this game look fucking amazing. I think the flower field when you're fighting the boss looks like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was like
That's
staring at it and I was like, this is kind of unbelievable how good this looks. And not every scene looks that good, but like it's so funny because I was when I was early on playing the game and I was like crouching in the tall grass. I'm like, bro, I actually like. How do I even explain this? I'll put it this way. My prescription for my glasses is so high that when I take it off, I look genuinely different to people. And then people tell me that like, oh, I understand like the Clark Kent disguise when I look at you.
Oh,
Because you look completely different. And now with the new graphics or whatever, when I'm lying in the grass as Snake, I'm like, I can't even see me. Like I genuinely like I buy it that like someone could walk right the fuck by me and not notice me. Whereas in the original, it's like, and most stealth games really, like you're crouching in the tall grass, you're like, how the fuck do people not see you?
Right.
Like that's not how any of this works. But in this one, you're prone and you got the right camo on. I'm like, bro, like I would not see this guy if I wasn't.
I do love the quick switch camo in this game too. A lot of good quality of life stuff here too. To make that, to make again like a lot of stuff that like kind of annoyed Colin back in the day. It's like yeah. You know, you can just make that a little easier. You know,
I didn't interact with the quick camo that much because I actually did kind of like going in and. I did like the process now that the rest of the game doesn't control so strangely. Like I didn't really mind going through the menus, and the same thing with like the getting rid of a bullet or like treating a burn or whatever. Like that wasn't as cumbersome to me.
Yeah, that didn't annoy me as much this time either. Right.
Just because the moment to moment gameplay was just so clean and good. I had one moment, and I think I might have talked about it on Sacred. I can't remember, but like where it's in the I can't remember the names of these places, but like the one where the building where you have to disguise yourself as a scientist. And I put the jacket on and I walked in and a guy noticed me immediately. He was like, what the fuck? And I was like, whoa. And I turned around and I still had like face paint on. And so I completely fucked myself. But
yeah, I did that too. I forgot that you gotta like take that off. And then they were like, what's wrong with your face? Hey! And it goes into alert like immediately.
Hey, kill him!
Yeah. But like that's what like this game like it's so cool to hear like Colin like realize like how deep the game was, because like I feel like Delta does kind of like highlight a new appreciation for 3 in that like, oh, this game was always really really dense and so mechanically rich, you know, like again that building where you're going through the scientists, like you can just open every single fucking locker in that building, you know. And
I did.
It's fun to like kind of like do a completionist run and just like let me like explore every single nook and cranny, because there's all kinds of like weird items and little weird things, and you can just do so much in this game.
There's so much interactivity that I just didn't like. I didn't interact with the mouse traps at all the first time I went through. I didn't know you could cut the ropes on that bridge in the beginning.
Oh yeah,
I had no fucking idea that was like that's sick. And I knew about the bees. Like the bees nests or whatever, but I never really like fucked around with it like in the original, because it just like felt too I don't know, there was something about it. But
Yeah,
it is
you got to hunt down every single animal, to fill that out and eat every single animal you can,
Yeah,
Can
like
you
eat them, which was something I had because I didn't eat a couple of them. I just captured them. I'm like, fuck. But I had good saves to go back and get what I missed.
Yeah, you got to go eat. You got to eat them all, man.
If you eat the what is it, that special animal that you catch?
The one you use the mousetrap to catch or whatever.
The Sachinoko or something, something like that.
I don't. Did I eat it? I guess. Oh, you know what? I did eat it, and then I restarted the save to go back because you think you have to eat it, but there's like a master save that tracks all of your progress, and it gets sent to that, and then you have to beat the game with that animal.
Yeah, right. I think for me, it's just like I want to eat it and then call the people who told me not to eat it. That's the one thing I do want to do. Because I'm curious, because they're really adamant about like, don't bring that back, please. Bring that animal back. And I'm like, this thing looks fucking horrifying. I don't know why you want this.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do for you. The systems that bogged me down my first time playing through it were just much less cumbersome this time around. Just because I think the game is snappier, and so I think these things it's like you said with the medical stuff that bothered me as well. Where I said in the type, I'm like, why am I doing any of this stuff? It's annoying. But the game was much more plotting. Like things are just. I just feel like making things snappier, even though the gameplay itself is deliberate and slow. That's good. Get me back into the gameplay. Like this isn't fun. At least not to me. It's like it's cool the first time you're picking a bullet out of you and you're tying yourself up, but it's like the 20th time. It's like, come on, man. This is a video game. But I understood it a lot better. And the camo stuff is really cool, combining, like you said, the face paints and whatever with the outfits and the little things. We keep talking about the little touches. There's a little touch that I didn't realize. So I was following this walkthrough of like, this is what you should try to kind of do to get through Fox Sound because you have 5 hours or less. I did it in like 2.5 hours. And one of the things they suggested was there's this point where you can use like box A or box B and hide in the back of a truck and skip an entire part of the game. But when you do that, I believe you miss the scientist outfit. Like, I think that's like an outfit you can't get or whatever. Or one of those, because there's a trio of outfits where it's like the soldier or like the soldier's outfit or the officer's outfit, the scientist outfit and so on, and the maintenance worker's outfit. That might have been what it was. It was the maintenance worker's outfit you couldn't get. So that when you went and planted the C3 on the Shagohod, you had to like kind of do it more carefully. And what I liked about that trio, and I don't know if I'm recognizing this properly, but I think I am, is if you were wearing a maintenance man's outfit, the soldiers and the scientists wouldn't be that interested in you, but the maintenance people would be. If you like got too close to them, because it would be assumed that you knew each other and maybe worked together. And so they would be the ones suspicious of you. And I thought that was, right, it's cool.
That's very... It's very Hitman, and obviously Hitman borrows a lot from this clearly, because that's like the second I noticed that's how it worked. Very Hitman. Where like when I had the scientist disguise and I was like walking through no problem, and then the scientists were like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Oh, this is that Hitman thing where it's just like you can't disguise yourself as like a janitor and not be recognized by the janitors." I think that's cool. I had no idea that there was even a maintenance. I don't think I got the maintenance outfit on my first playthrough.
Yeah, there's like an outfit that you can wear so that when you're like, you're dicking around the Shagohod, it'll be easier for you. I don't remember exactly where it is.
I snuck through that entire section. It was so hard. Yeah. Granted, I was killing every single person inside.
Well, that's why there's so many different ways to approach this game. One of my favorite areas in this game, in Metal Gear 3, is that little side area with a house that you don't ever have to go to at all.
I missed that on the first time through. Also,
it's very easy to miss. It's just off to the side. There's nothing there that you absolutely need, but it's a house full of like holes in the ground, and like you can crawl underneath. Or you can climb up a tree and get on the rooftop. And there's just a couple of enemies there to kill, and it's just like, here we go. Just fucking go crazy on these guys for a bit.
It's like, what do they call in Russian, a dacha or whatever, like a country like wooded house, like where people maybe in that compound. It's. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Chris, please.
No, one thing I wanted to comment, because I did bring it up on Sacred, and I want to bring it up here. The because right now I'm trying to do the no kills, like all stealth, no alerts run. I'm on the end right now, but something I noticed I thought was funny is because the rest of the game is so in depth and so much of the internal logic tracks. I haven't eaten in a while. I'm going to get hungry. Oh, I've had this food for a while. This food is spoiled. I'm going to get sick. I have to take a stomach pill to kind of alleviate the stomach ache. Because there's so many of these interlocking systems, and I'm trying to do this stealth run, I got to a point where I think it's where you get the sniper just before you knock off the end. I think maybe I'm not sure. It's it's an area with docks, and I tranquilized the guy, and so he was falling asleep, and then he fell in the water.
Yep.
And I was like, oh shit, I killed him. He's dead. And then I checked the little thing that keeps track of, what you've done and what you didn't. And those don't count as kills, I guess. If you tranquilize somebody and they just fall in the water,
it doesn't. And when you told me this the first time, I told you on Sacred, so this is redundant for those people, but not for those that didn't listen, is like on that same screen, there are explosive barrels that also don't count if you use them. So you can actually kill people on that screen. And because you can, one of the things I read in the guide I was using was like, you can actually make the end. So you can't kill the end because that will destroy your no kill run. But they're like, you can actually damage him here. And the damage will carry over into the fight. And what you do is like you attack the barrels that are near him and it'll explode and like do like damage to him. And the barrels will also kill the people that are like, are guarding him, but those won't count as kills.
That would have made it so much easier.
That's why I didn't think I had what it took honestly to do the run without some guidance on like, here's what the AT camo, for instance, is like vital. I don't know if you have that or not. Like it like basically doubles your camo. Like, so you can like crawl through entire areas and no one will even see you.
Where is it before the end?
You get the AT camo, I think, for getting a bunch of the collectibles. I'm not sure which one. There's like the ducks and the other thing.
I don't know if I have
it. I don't want to say it trivializes it, but it makes it much easier so that when you're, that part where you're climbing up the mountain and then into the fortress or whatever. Yeah. It's so easy. Like
that's the part where I always got caught by.
Yeah, that's very
every
tough.
Every single time I've tried to play that game, I've always gotten caught on that mountaintop with all the helicopters and shit. I'm just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I have to kill everybody.
Because the Foxhound run requires that you set no alarms off. So but there's a very generous autosave system in this game that was not in the original, as I remember. And the Foxhound run, one of the tweaks they made is in the original Foxhound run. So like extreme difficulty, no kills, no alarms, no special items. So like you can't use healing items or anything like that. And I think you can only eat a certain amount of times and whatever, do other things. In that original one, you could only save 25 times, I think, max. And there was no auto saving. In this, it's so much more trivial because it auto saves constantly, like every time you go in and out of a map. And you can really, one of the things that I think does carry over from the original, and Gene, you would know this better than both of us, is the game is somewhat easy to manipulate. Because it is inherently stage based, and they couldn't do the Ishimura thing. Like it would have broken the entire game if you connected the maps. It's just not possible. Like you would have to,
I agree.
Right? So like
it would just be a new game. You just have to make a new game.
Right, exactly. It would just be, and it would make the game feel small, I think, actually.
Yes, it would.
It would like really small. So they obviously made the right choice by doing this, but
because your brain is attaching like, the journey is happening between these screens too, right?
Right.
Like, I'm climbing the mountain or whatever,
But I find the game easy. I remember this the first time I played through it, and I did this my first no kill run, but the second time when you couldn't have any alarms, I couldn't be quite as flippant. But like you really just, if you're like, oh shit, he saw me, you can kind of just run into the next area sometimes and it just goes away.
I did that all the time. I did that this run too, where I'm just like, oh yeah, let me just go to another screen. They're not going to cross screens,
So there's some interstage logic that I'm surprised doesn't exist in the game. I mean, sometimes they will follow you and look for you and all of that, but there's sometimes where there's not. And I'm like, this is the kind of shit that used to happen on the NES when like you would go off screen and then go back on the screen and the enemies would disappear and then come back. It's like there's no excuse of why the game should be this easy to manipulate. It's a little surprising how intricate everything is in the game, but that.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about the whole thing. It's like, well, this kind of like they're dead, right? Because tranquilizing people only puts them to sleep for a little bit. Like they'll wake up after a while, but if they're underwater, they won't wake up. So it's just like, oh, well, that's really not. That's kind of crazy that's a lot. And then also too, like to be able to walk up to people and be like, freeze. And then they know you're there. They know you're there. Like, like that kind of fucked with me a little bit. Cause I was like, that was, cause when you're going through the game, like that's kind of the best way to go through it because that keeps them down basically forever. Like it doesn't like, if you knock them out, they'll wake up eventually. If you tranquilize them, they'll wake up eventually. If you freeze if you tell them to freeze and just push them on the ground and say freeze or whatever, like they'll stay there the entire time and they don't care what you do. They're very aware that you're there. And then it just counts as like, oh, this is like a perfect stealth run. And you're like, well, how?
Right.
I'm making my presence. Yeah. I'm making my presence so thoroughly known.
Yeah, it's like freeze and don't tell anyone.
Freeze, don't tell anyone. Do you promise? It kind of feels crazy. But like, I mean, it's a quirk, I guess, of like whatever, like what the game's trying to do.
Yeah, you guys bring up a really interesting tension in the game, right? Where it's like this game is trying to be realistic. I'm hungry, right? And it comes back to what Colin was saying about like why am I, like even during like the Vulcan fight when he's like blasting you with bullets, and then I'm pausing the screen to like take my fork out to take the bullet out, and then let me unpause, and then let me just start fighting this dude again, right? It's this really like interesting tension of like it like you're a video game, just let me do this. And then the other times it is like, oh, we're just a video game. We're going to let you do this,
Yeah.
But that's why I said it earlier. I guess I should close the loop. Is like, that's why I just hate the paramedic character because it's just nonsensical. It doesn't make any sense in like a grounded game where not that she doesn't like movies or that they're talking back and forth, but it's like, I picture Snake calling in and be like, it's Snake. I'm just letting you know what's going on. That's kind of how I feel like the save is like a sit rep or whatever. Right. And then she's like, by the way, Snake, have you ever seen 007, like whatever. And it's like, and I want him to be like, lady, I have things to do, it's just, and so I started just for the immersion's sake being like triangle, just to like get through the conversation. I'm like, it doesn't make sense. You're ruining the vibe.
Bombs or whatever right now.
Right. Like don't like understand that you're ruining the vibe. And by the way, your job's on the line. Your job's on the line, lady. I think you would want to be a little more focused. Because don't they threaten her and say like she's going to get fired or lose her medical license or something if something goes wrong?
They pull her aside. They're like, "What are you doing?"
Right.
Well, it's a little, I guess not to spoil MGS4, but like when you find out like which character she becomes later on.
Like, she's like that's interesting. I'm very excited to play MGS4.
Yeah, it becomes
me too.
It becomes very absurd, pretty much. So
I've been thinking actually of playing MGS1 and 2, which I think could be purchased separately. Like as their own package, because I think the volume 1 collection is like both a collection and a la carte selections.
Oh, so I'd like rare replay,
right? Because I didn't realize until I was much older, like much after my career began, that the Metal Gear that I knew Metal Gear 2, like Snake's Revenge, is a fake Metal Gear game. I always knew that, but I didn't realize that the NES port of the MSX Metal Gear was like bastardized. I always thought it was kind of like a pure, though badly translated port, but it's not the real one. So I'm kind of ignorant on those games.
Oh, the original Metal Gear 1 and 2.
Right.
Yeah. Here's one thing that you'll realize when you play those games is that, holy shit, Kojima's really just been remaking those two games over and over again, actually.
Is it true that he kept going out of spite because of Snake's Revenge? Is that like that? He made Metal Gear, then they started bastardizing it almost immediately. They like made a bad port of it. They made a sequel that he had no control over. And then so he was like, well, just keep doing it.
Yeah. So that's why Metal Gear Solid was like a corrective, maybe,
Right. Which is cool.
And also he had a lot of ideas for like, advancing 3D narrative storytelling,
Yes,
which is exactly what it did.
Well, look, he's good at it. And, I really don't mind people like, people say that about like Tarantino or whatever, or like other people who are just like, oh, they're just this is the same movie over and over again. It's like different subjects in different times or whatever, or like game designers too. I know people say that about Bungie. It's like they've been remaking Halo forever. It's like, yeah, whatever. I like
keep doing it. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's not a complaint at all. I think it's awesome that he's able to like take the original NES. So I mean, that's why I love about Delta or 3 in general. Like even when I'm playing Delta, I'm like, man, I'm playing the most fucking advanced version of Metal Gear 1 ever by playing Delta right now, Yeah. As I'm approaching Grozny Grad, I'm just like, fuck, this is just like outer heaven, bitch. Like I'm really here. I'm grounded. The camera is right on my level. Like it feels so cool. So I don't look down on anyone like enjoying the modern controls. I fucking love it too. I think it's so cool,
It makes Metal Gear Solid 3 feel like Splinter Cell to me, which is like kind of a dream for me, because that was one of the things I always loved about Splinter Cell over Metal Gear Solid was that like I felt more immersed in the stealth. Like Metal Gear Solid has always been a stealth game, I guess, but like it was always more about like the writing and the character work and all that kind of thing, and where Splinter Cell was more about like light and shadows and like Splinter Cell I always felt was like more stealth than anything else.
Mhm.
And so to have that kind of feeling of just like, this is like, this is awesome for this game to feel like that. And obviously Metal Gear Solid 5 plays immaculately, so it's not that it plays exactly like Splinter Cell or nothing, but like it feels more approachable. And just,
like it's good
grounded.
that like they didn't put in the sprint from 5 in 3.
That would break it.
You know? That would just break the game. They would just make it stupid. So it's like it's kind of cool that Naked Snake is just like running as slow as he does in this game. You know, it's fun.
I want to ask you guys about there's much more I want to say, but about two other small tweaks that I think one of them is actually a pretty major tweak and one that people are very critical of when I bring it up, but I want to bring it up to you guys and see what you think. But one thing I was curious about before I get into that is, do you find the inventory management system to be unimmersive and strange? Like, or is it just Metal Gear? In other words, if you do a completionist run of this game, you'll have 4 assault rifles, 2 sniper rifles, a half dozen handguns, 4 types of explosives. Like, would it have benefited from a Resident Evil style inventory management system that would have grounded the game more? Or is it okay for it to be like this? I really have no preference one way or the other, but it is one of those things where it's like, well, there is a suspension of disbelief, and then there's also like the gaminess of it. So I don't know if it's even worth being critical of it. What do you think?
I think you bring up an interesting point, and I'm actually glad you brought this up, because like it feels like Death Stranding is like a specific response to that problem in general, right? Where it's like it almost feels like Kojima never actually liked doing that all the time, where just having like 5 guns and a rocket launcher like on Snake the whole time. And it's like, well, fuck it. The next game, you got to put your fucking rocket launcher on your back, and you got to feel every fucking pound of it, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting. It is the exact opposite, because I even loved in Death Stranding too. I mean, one of the things I thought was cool was just the way they helped you better organize guns. You can have one in your holster, one on your gun rack.
Yes.
So a very similar thing that they could have done.
Yes, it really does feel like Death Stranding too. And yes, you're so right. That here's a hip holster, right? And then when you get like the little sticky gun, it's like, you got to carry it on you or on your back or whatever. You know, you can't carry it any other way. So it really feels like he's kind of continuing to grapple with that issue of like being immersive or like that. So like I like, you know, to answer your question, I accept that it's Metal Gear, but like it is interesting that Kojima seems to be trying to solve that problem actually, or kind of like address that aspect of his own games.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. I think there's just a suspension of disbelief that just kind of sets in. Like I feel like the gameplay in general is like that. You know, like the fact that you can just like, all right, let me change my clothes real quick.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
In an instant.
Exactly.
Let me change my BDUs and my face paint in a literally like a nano angstrom of time. And then you know, and then like and he's carrying all of this. That to me is more absurd than like carrying like all this like weaponry. Is like he's carrying what, like 50 full outfits, including like a scientist's like lab coat and like a fucking gi, or like just
all these different colors of face paint like on him, you know, he's like a graffiti artist on the street, you know, but he just has it all up his butt, right?
Yeah, that to me is crazier. And so like the inventory management system, I just kind of associate. It's like, listen, like we're trying to give you a way to experience. It's not James Bond necessarily, but like a Bond, almost like a Bond-esque kind of experience of just like, we want to give you a lot of tools to use in this, stealth sandbox, and you want to be able to use your laser watch if you have it, or if you found it. I think how it balances out is the fact that you can miss some of it. The fact that you can go through the entire game and just completely avoid the thermal goggles, and just not like, they won't just hand it to you just for finishing, like, oh, you beat a boss, so here you go. I think that kind of gets around it because it gives it kind of puts agency on the player to accrue, as opposed to a standard game where it's just kind of handed to you, and you're carrying all this shit, and there's no agency really at all outside of just continuing the preset path that the game is putting in front of you. I've never minded that.
Yeah,
the clothes just to me are hilarious.
Yeah, it's yes. I think I want to be clear. I don't mind it either. I just was wondering. I'm like,
yeah.
Because you just have the option. It's like suspension of disbelief over choice. And choice is what I think makes Metal Gear kind of sing. So you have that. Yep. But it'll be interesting to play it in the other way and have some. It's almost surprising there isn't a mode or a mod even on PC with like that some sort of level of limitation where if you have an assault rifle and then you get you have an AK-47 and you find like the M4 or whatever, then you're like, well, I got to pick one or the other.
I'm pretty sure Metal Gear Solid 5 is kind of like that. I haven't played it in a while, but like I think you have to go in with a loadout.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Go in with.
Five, yeah, 5. Again, that's Kojima trying to address that shit, right? Yeah. Like it might have really bothered him because, like, yeah, exactly. In 5, you can only have a rifle, you can have a pistol, and you can have a secondary weapon, which is like a rocket launcher or a sniper rifle or something like that.
Yeah,
that's all you get.
And what else
you get? Like a handful.
Really?
You get a handful of equipment, like maybe night vision goggles, but you can you can go in without it.
Yeah, then, you can have like 9 or whatever equipment that you can bring along, but like that's about it though. You know, it's limited and that costs resources. You know, to even use at all. That's why like when I played Snake Eater and when I'm trying to play Delta, this whole conversation is making me want to replay Delta completely all over again. But like, I like to play it immersive because like in all the cutscenes, Snake is only using his little M9 like M19 gun, right? Yeah. I like to play with only that gun the whole game. You know, just use that, and because that's what Snake is using. That's why I love Max Payne 3 so fucking much. Is because like whatever gun like Max is holding like in the gameplay, like he'll hold in the fucking cutscene. You know. I think that's so fucking cool and sick.
In-engine cutscenes are the best. Like
it's so cool. And then and Max Payne 3 is so awesome because like when you have an assault rifle and a pistol, and when you want to use your pistol, the assault rifle doesn't disappear. He'll just like tuck it underneath his arm, and he'll shoot with the other pistol or whatever like that. It's so like realistic and immersive. I love when games do that. I love when games do like what Metal Gear does. Like, video games are awesome. You know?
The other thing, and this is like something that drives Chris and I think talked about this on Sacred before, and it drives the audience nuts. But I wanted to see what Gene thought of it. Is like, I have this contention that the game should be in Russian.
Oh,
and I think that people are misunderstanding what I'm saying. Where it's like, I don't mind it being in English. I can obviously suspend my disbelief on that. I don't give a shit. But it's surprising to me that it's not in Russian because the entire game is in Russian, except for his codec conversations and a couple other things.
Yes.
So, yeah. So what are your thoughts on that?
I heard that. I love that. I love playing games in their native language, like Lost Soul aside, like sounds way better in Chinese and the English like dub that they have, you know. Obviously Yakuza, you want to play that in Japanese too. I played the all of Witcher 3 in Polish.
Right.
You know?
And that's what I think maybe it was Micah that brought that up. I was like, why are people busting balls on that when it's like you can play The Witcher in Polish? It's the same thing. It's the same exact thing. Why is that such a big deal to like bring up that would have been an option?
I think that would have been super cool. And like Big Boss's Russian speaking abilities actually plays into a little hint on, you know, what the secret of Metal Gear Solid 5 is. Because Venom Snake doesn't understand Russian.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Remember, there's a specific mission in Metal Gear Solid 5 where you know, Big Boss Venom Snake in 5 is like, I need to find a translator, you know. So that when you're playing the game and when you're in Afghanistan, like all the soldiers are speaking Russian and you can't understand it. There's no subtitles, you know. So there's an actual mechanical
I love Metal Gear Solid 5.
Metal Gear is so fucking cool because it takes those little like mechanical details and makes a narrative. That's why Kojima is a genius. You know,
it's funny to me. Like when I remember saying that, and I've said that over the years, and people get like really upset about it, and I'm like, why is this the particular opinion? It seems like it's like when we were doing Mafia: The Old Country, and there's like the Italian, or it's like a Sicilian dialect Italian option to play the game in. And I'm like, I don't think most people would want to do that. I don't necessarily want to do that. I really think that that's a realistic and cool move, and it would have just been cool for, instead of there being like the Russian mode, it would have been like language mode or something where it would have been like they're speaking Russian here, and now he's on the codec and he's speaking English. Now we have the conversation between LBJ and you know, I'm sorry,
like canon mode or something, right?
Canon mode, something like that. I think
why does Volgin, like the colonel in like the you know, the whatever army or whatever is why does he sound like Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know?
Right. Kuwabara.
Yeah.
I love the actors talking about like talking about those things. It's like, I had to say Kuwabara. What's that mean? It's like,
I don't have any idea.
I have no earthly idea.
I got a little bit of insight into that with one of the guys that was in Expedition 33. That was an actor that was talking about his performance.
Charlie Cox.
And he was saying, like, I don't know. He's like, I'm thrilled. The game's doing well. It's a really great product. He's like, I did it for 4 hours. I have no context in it. It was kind of dispelling, of the actual experience of, you think all the actors are really in it and they have the context and they know, but a lot of them don't. That's why motion capture has been so impactful, I think, for video games, because it's different.
It was a day-long agency gig. Like his agent says, "Hey, you got this gig right now. You can do this video game." And he's like, "All right, I'll just do it for a day." And he just fucking fucked off and forgot about it. He'd even like, someone's like, "Oh, what do you think about SK?" And I was like, "Oh, SK, he's like the bad guy, right?" It's like, no, you don't understand anything about what you were saying.
It's kind of he also probably
go ahead.
He also probably recorded that like 2 years ago or something. Like,
that's true.
It is funny because like that happens. Like I know I'm really close friends with a lot of voice actors and like people who are fairly prominent. Like they're in a lot of shit. And sometimes the stuff that they work on doesn't come out for like 3-4 years because animation pipelines or production pipelines, whatever. And then people are like, "Oh my God, you were in that." And they were like, "Was I?" And a lot of them have code names and shit like that. So like they don't even know what the name of the game is that they're doing.
Might have been 2 years ago, but remember, Ben Starr wasn't a name until 2023 either, and he was recruited because of his role as Clive. So that was all the recording sessions kind of came together really, really like quickly, like pretty late for that game.
Yeah, Clive is an awesome character, so he deserves he did a
great
wonderful
voice.
job. Yeah, it's good shit. All right, I wanted to ask you guys about some other story-based things that I thought were interesting, and Gene, I'll obviously probably need you to help guide me through this because you know the lore a lot better than me, but. The Sokolov. So, am I understanding that Sokolov is the scientist behind the Shagohod?
Mm-hmm.
Granin is the scientist behind Metal Gear?
Yes.
And so the Soviets at this point make a decision that they want to go in the direction of the Shagohod?
Shagohod is basically the USSR's Concorde.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, we're going to choose this wrong thing for our new project, And it's Shagohod is going to be like a Star Wars like saga.
So that's kind of cool. Like that's kind of a cool little like the bipedal Metal Gear. Is like an afterthought to them at this point. And they have this other idea instead.
Yeah, and they thought Granin was a crackpot, and but Revolver saw the plans, and he's like, "Yo, let me bring this back to the States, man. Let me show the Pentagon this shit."
Right.
A fucking walking tank, It's Revolver's fault the whole time,
Yeah, because he ends up being the American agent.
Yeah, he is. That's why he's a triple agent because he is Adamska. He is the agent that Snake was supposed to meet at the beginning
and meets Eva instead. Right.
Yeah, and meets Eva, and that's why when Revolver meets Snake at the beginning when he's rescuing Sokolov, he's like, "You're not the boss." He's confused like what the fuck the assignment is or whatever, because there's so much double crossing. And he's like, "Oh, if you're not the boss, I'm going to kill you." And he realizes, "Oh, wait, no, like the CQC, like this is the boss's like student, like I got to back off a little bit, I got to genuflect a little bit, I got to figure out what's going on." Eva replaces Adamska. The Revolver was supposed to show up there, but he's off getting molested by Vulcan.
Ocelot is so fucking cool. I love these characters. I love how all the characters just have these mannerisms. Like his like gesture.
Yeah, his
little fun. Thing.
He's like,
God, so fun.
And do we also? I guess I'm interpreting it that we learn why he starts using revolvers instead of normal pistols because he is disarmed in the CQC. Right?
Yeah, and he starts to basically simp for Big Boss.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, I found my sensei here."
I've seen theories though that like kind of imply that. I love the theory crafting around Revolver Ocelot because like there is a non-zero chance that everything is orchestrated by him. Literally, like it feels like because the fact that he isn't using revolvers is mega suspect. Like because everything about him, like the boots that he wears. Like to the way that he's twirling the gun, it's like I've seen people be like, he wants you to think that you inspired him, which I love because
that's crazy.
Which I love because like it it does track, dude. Like
Oh, he's manipulating Big Boss into thinking like, oh, I got a simp now, you know?
Yeah.
But Revolver's like, no, like I want you to think that I want a simp for you.
Yeah,
that's so big brain.
I love it. I love all of it. It's so fun.
I haven't gone down the rabbit hole of like the YouTube essay about, or like the breakdown of what people's interpretations of the story are. I've not gone even down that rabbit hole.
I haven't either. Yeah. Like this is like I'm all pulling from shit that I read back in like 2004, 2007. You know,
I see. Yeah, because I feel like there's probably some really good shit out there, but I also am just not prepared to do it because I've not played Peace Walker. I've not played 4 all the way through, and I played 5 for 10 hours or whatever. So.
Oh, you need to play 4. You would need like 4 is like a huge like block of information that you need for sure.
And I'm more excited about it.
Like all this will make a lot more sense, I guess, if you play 4. So
yeah, I got to get to that. So hopefully next year, like we said. Another thing I wanted to ask was just about the Philosopher's Legacy. So this is another kind of cool piece of alternate history in that the Chinese, the Soviets, and the Americans kind of create this super fund of $100 billion in contemporary money. So this would be like, a couple $1 trillion, I guess, at this point.
It's so much fucking money.
Yeah, it's like an insane amount of money. And they do it, I guess.
It's like an obscene amount of money. Like you look at like Squid Games, like cash, and it's like, oh, 47 billion. But it actually goes down to like a couple million. Like once it's like, that's not that much money. Why would you risk yourself? And it's like, no, the Philosopher's Legacy is like, would be so much money right now. Like it would be like a whole country, you know? So
they like, as I interpret it, they like create this fund to kind of create a post-war peace, but that things quickly go sideways. They don't really get into it, but there is the Sino-Soviet split is like a major thing that happens after World War II, where like it seemed like the Soviets and the Chinese were going in one direction and could be incredibly powerful as a bloc, and then they hate each other. Like they have totally different interpretations of communism and international communism and what they should be doing. I think the interpretation was that like the Chinese were not international communists, but the Russians were. In other words, like global revolution and all that kind of thing. And so they split up in that. So that in Kojima's mind, or at least in the canon, probably plays some part in this thing all fracturing, because the United States is obviously at odds with the Soviet Union and doesn't even talk to China like in official diplomatic ways until Nixon. So it's an interesting, I love the whole idea of this. Yeah. So they have this fund, and I guess it's on like some sort of microfiche or something. Like I don't know if it's like bank account numbers or whatever. Like, do they ever say like what's on that?
It's data, I think. It's so it's like, I would imagine like account numbers and things like that. Like
right, but it's like microfilm, right? Like it's, in other words,
it's a microfilm.
Which is so it's like the numbers and like all the details of it, which is kind of neat. But there's a fake one and a real one, because Eva gets the fake one.
Yeah.
Right. And then Ocelot,
she does get the fake one. Yeah.
Right. And then
Ocelot gets the real. At the end, Ocelot gets half of the real money and brings it back to the United States.
And so where's the other half? Do they ever say, or is it just? Or is that a spoiler?
I think it might be so like a lot of what I'm stopping myself because a lot of what I'm saying might be a spoiler for MGS4.
Yeah, fair enough. Because because this is basically the establishment of the Patriots and stuff, right? Like right. So.
It is basically the start of the Patriots. Yes,
right.
The Philosophers are the original, like the precursor to the Patriots, and this money would be creating the Patriots essentially.
And MGS4, is there like a similar villain thing of like a series of cool villains in that too?
Yes, they are the worst batch of MGS villains for sure.
Because I don't even know who they are.
The Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, you don't know who they are. They're basically extremely hot chicks who are traumatized, and they become robots, and they become like reflections of Foxhound. You know?
Oh, cool.
And they're kind of like not the greatest boss fights. Some of them are really cool, but like their backstories are just like whatever. So. Like
all I remember
you kind of find out a lot about them, but like it kind of sucks. So,
all I remember about MGS4 was like walking through like a bunch, like being in like a Middle Eastern style like war zone.
Love that part,
and like you're walking through all the buildings and shit. Like that's all I remember about it, which must be the beginning or near the beginning.
It's definitely the beginning. Definitely the coolest part of the game.
And what do we make of there's like a real sadness to the story about the boss kind of sacrificing herself, and no one really knows the truth. I love how it all ties into the use of the Davy Crockett nuclear weapon on to they, Granin or not Granin, Volgin steals the machine and then destroys the base to hide the evidence with a nuclear weapon. The nuclear warhead is detected by the Soviets. They don't know of any plan to use the weapon. The weapon was brought in as a sign of goodwill by the boss. And they detect an American plane that's exfiltrating. Is that the right?
That's exfiltrating.
Exfiltrating Snake from the Virtuous mission. So they tie those two things together. It's good shit. And so she's like in a situation where she's like, oh shit.
This is not planned.
Yeah, this is all going totally wrong.
I'm stuck here.
Right.
I'm stuck. Yeah. And then you see Revolver trying to stop it too, like right there on the plane. He's like, wait, what are you doing? Those are our comrades, Like Adamska, Revolver, the secret American agent is freaking out too. He's like, fuck. Yeah. Volgin is fucking insane right now,
And
it's so awesome.
Or he's pretending to.
Or he's pretending. You never know with the guy.
That scene on the helicopter is like a massively important scene, like a really important scene. I think the Pain might be there too, like some other randoms, like in the helicopter.
Yeah,
and they all are probably like, "Oh shit, this is a bad situation." So I love that. I love that. That ties into what I was saying earlier with the Khrushchev LBJ conversation, where they're like, "Listen, your plane was here. We know it was here, and the bomb went off. It's not our bomb." And I think there might be an insinuation. It's like we can even just kind of scan and do tests and figure out it's not the right isotopes and stuff. It's not our bomb, So it's your bomb, and it is your bomb. That's the whole thing that's crazy about it. It's like it is your bomb, so you better figure this the fuck out. And it forces the boss to ultimately sacrifice herself in a way that's so painful that I guess I interpreted it as Naked Snake kind of eschewing the honors that were. Like he's made big boss, but he's deeply radicalized and corrupted at that point, right? And that's
that's kind of the beginning of him like splintering away and feeling like, I think the general sentiment is like this world just kind of uses soldiers and it doesn't really respect them, so I'm going to create this society or this place where like soldiers can be, and that leads into 5 and the future, but like
5 and 1, Outer Heaven,
it's
the beginning of Outer Heaven.
It's such a dope. I love that it's an origin story. Like that it is an origin story fundamentally, and it's a great one. One thing I wanted to bring up because I just remembered it. There's a strange amount of like molestation going on in this. That I don't think I remembered when I played it the first time. Like Eva gets felt up like I think twice, and then Snake gets his balls grasped.
Right.
Like very distinctly, and it's like it's very focused on. Like it's like I know those balls. That's not you, and I'm like, what is happening exactly?
I know the commander's balls anywhere.
That's literally what is implied,
right? Definitely.
And I don't understand. Like I kind of all of those moments come out of nowhere, kind of, and you're just like, what exactly? Not in like this is offensive way. I'm just genuinely confused.
So Revolver was feeling up Eva because I think Rajdanovich was the NSA codebreaker. I think
right.
I think Rajdanovich was supposed to be Eva.
Well, he says too that like a female agent or whatever.
Yeah, a female agent. That's why when he's feeling titty, it's like, wait a minute, a titty. Why?
Yeah, look, I'm really, really laser focused on this ball grab.
Yeah.
Because I really, do you remember this?
Yeah. No, how could you forget?
Of course.
I just don't, that to me, I don't understand. That's the one part where I'm just like,
Rajdanovich and Volgin. So Volgin is bisexual and he is a sexual deviant. So he is both like raping or sexually assaulting Tatiana /Eva and Rajdanovich at the same time.
Okay,
that's why he's like Rajdanovich, like Lieutenant, I expected you to my office like 15 minutes ago.
That is crazy.
You were supposed to jerk me off or some shit or whatever.
Right.
So that's Kojima's way to demonstrate that Vulcan is a sexual creep and a deviant.
Okay, yeah, because that's what I thought, but then I was like, that can't be. Like, that's a pretty wild, like, bit of texture to this character. But I mean,
it's a little weird, and also, like, I guess it's a reference to like when the president of the United States also grabs Raiden's balls in MGS2, you know. And he's like, wait,
that's
like
right.
A male agent? What? It's like, that I cannot explain. I actually don't have an explanation for that at all. I don't understand that at all.
It happens. It's like one of the, what's that saying where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time it happened, I wouldn't have that many nickels. But it's weird that it happened this many times.
Yeah.
The game definitely felt, just through all of that, more sexual. I mean,
yeah.
Every game, I think all three of them that I'm familiar with have a sexual angle to them. Obviously, flirtations and inappropriate, conversations and all that. But just Eva, even just immediately like pulling down her thing, like you meet her and she's all just like, and then she just shows her tits basically. Her Allegheny hugs.
And there's a button to stare at him.
Right. Yeah, you could just, and it's a little awkward when you're playing it around your wife, and you're like, oh, there's the R1 prompt, and you like press it to see, like, it's like. And I'm like, oh, I thought it would like show me something else, but
yeah, I played that with my mom around. It was crazy.
Oh my God.
It was so long ago that I was still living with my parents at the time. Yeah.
I don't know. I just wanted to give a shout out to what I thought was it's a triple crossing basically. And Eva thinks that's what makes that character in that scene in Alaska so cool, is like, she thinks she won. Yeah. But she didn't. And that again can explain, I don't know, I don't want to read too much into the history, but like China kind of falls apart, and they don't have funds and it gets really radical and all that. And it might all be tied into like her failure to secure at least a part of the Philosopher's Legacy.
Oh, it is. It definitely is. Yeah.
Which is so interesting. It's so deep. Like he and whoever else helps him write this stuff, because I don't know if he writes all of it himself, but like it's so meticulous and interesting. It's one of those things that makes me very jealous as a writer, where it's like, damn, dude, I wish I could do things like this. Like, we're really thoughtful. It's not schlock. It's like, it's not, I don't want to insult Tom Clancy or whatever. I think Tom Clancy's awesome. Like Red Storm Rising and some of these books are amazing, but eventually it gets schlocky and repetitive and weird. It's like when you get 10 seasons of NCIS or something, or things just go on. It's like, there seems to be, there's a lot of story and there's a density in the games, but there's also so little of it, considering how long of a period, basically from World War II to the future, that the game takes place in. It's just really neat. And so I love this as being one of the bases. And I wrote in my notes, and that's why I wanted to bring up the Davy Crockett nuke launch, is like, that is one of the most important scenes in the entire war of the game, because it's like everything goes, it's a total inflection point. It's a Black Swan event, really, of like totally unpredictable event that changes the course of everything.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, you're right. It is the inflection point for the entire Metal Gear franchise, basically.
So I don't know. Metal Gear Solid. Is there anything else that we didn't say about the game? We've been going for a while. I don't want to keep you guys for too long.
I don't know. I do want to shout out that Ape Escape mode, man. I love that. It's like, for some reason, Ape Escape has been showing up a lot lately. Both in, well, I guess I don't want to give it away, but like
Astrobot.
Astrobot, and now this. It's cool. And did you see the Xbox version is like Bomberman's?
Oh, really? That's
like
interesting.
Bomberman, which is cute. I don't know. I love that, what a weird, and what I really like about the Ape Escape mode is the nods to other stealth, like when he's on the phone with the major, and they're talking about the mission. It's like, you got to capture these monkeys or whatever. And there's like this crazy implication that like, oh yeah, the professor from Ape Escape knows Major Tom, or you're just like, what the fuck is this? And then Snake is, why don't you get Sam or Gabe to do it? And he's obviously referencing like Siphon Filter and Splinter Cell, which I think is just like so nice. I love that. Well, with the exception of Siphon Filter, because Siphon Filter's been gone forever, but I love that Splinter Cell and Metal Gear like acknowledge each other in like really weird like ways. I think it's cool.
Yeah, me too.
But,
that debut trailer at E3 that I was talking about, it was a direct Splinter Cell reference. A big boss comes out in night vision goggles. It's like, pew,
Yeah,
it was like a gauntlet thrown. It's like like kind of like what Colin was alluding to earlier, or I think one of you guys said like, oh, Splinter Cell is like a real stealth, and Metal Gear is like story and like cool mechanics and
It's like
everything like that, right?
intrigue.
The intrigue and the spy intrigue, and then like with Big Boss coming out with the night vision goggles, he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm making a real stealth game now. You know, like this is gonna be Snake, this is gonna be stealth. Like that was what was so impactful about the announcement of Metal Gear Solid 3 back then. You know, it's like, well, Kojima's back. He's gonna bring back Snake, and we were all pissed off at the time about not being Snake in MGS2. That was still fresh in our minds, you know, and it was gonna be an origin story, you know. And this was after the prequel sagas of Star Wars, so it was kind of hopping on this trend, you know, of origin stories and prequel stories, you know, and it was very, very exciting to see that we were going to get the Big Boss story, the Big Boss origin story, and it lived up to the whole thing. You know, it was it almost makes it was so good that I didn't think that 4 was necessary at all, because I feel like you can create a nice story between 4 and the start of Metal Gear 1 on the MSX still, and you can still answer. You can kind of answer some of the questions, or definitely 5 was not necessary. I think for sure.
Well, he really didn't want to start. He really didn't want to do it at that point. I think, right? Like they kept kind of
with 5.
Yeah. I think he was kind of really over it by that point, because I didn't realize. I was reading a little bit about the development of 3, and I didn't realize that internally they were kind of hoping it was going to be a PS3 game, and it ties into some of the reporting that I had done when I was at IGN a long time ago, which was somehow never known, which I couldn't believe that I broke it. It was from things that people at the Initiative for the Common Engine, which is called Sony ICE, which was this thing at within Naughty Dog where they would be working on engines. And one of the guys there told me on the record that PS5 was supposed to come out in 2000, or PS3 was supposed to come out in 2005 originally. And it didn't come out. It was delayed because of a bunch of reasons or whatever. And so I think originally they hadn't even intended it as like a next gen game. And I wonder if it was kind of held back in some way by it being retained on the same platform.
It probably was, because it was also, you know, MGS2 ran in 60 frames per second on the PS2. It was singing along in 60 frames per second. It was so cool to see that. And then 3 just totally tanked the performance, you know. So it feels like 3 was supposed to be a bigger game than it ended up being.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and that ties all into like that reporting back.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that was probably their internal. I'm sure Konami would have been privy to that at that time.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Where do we go from here in terms of these? It is my assumption that very similar to Silent Hill getting, you know, kind of its own remake, that this will do well enough. It sold more than 1 million copies, which I think is respectable. I assume they're going to continue to go. Do you go in the order of the games, or do you just do MGS2? Because I guess it's the most linear kind of connection to this particular game. You've already imported one of these PS2 games into Unreal and did it up. You might as well just bang that out. Because I think things like Metal Gear Solid 1 will require more of a remake. And, you know, I assume you would want to base it on the original 1998 version, not Twin Snakes. But so what do you think will happen from here? Because obviously, I think, do you agree, Gene, that they'll continue to go with these Metal Gear remakes?
It seems like it, yeah. But yeah, the next remakes, the next projects will be a lot more ambitious. I would actually welcome an MGS1 remake. Again, the original ones are available, so I have no issue with seeing a different interpretation. I love Twin Snakes for the GameCube, actually. There's a lot of issues with it in terms of how easy it is, because it does, the first person perspective does break the game. But it would just be fun to just fucking fly through the game and see Shadow Moses for in that again, to see Shadow Moses in that perspective would be so cool and so revelatory,
dude. It would a remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 would make me shit. It would be so,
just the opening a scenario with the tank, and you see the Hind D flying away, and the fact that you are able to see that within camera, you can see the sky, you know.
It would be so, it would be so sick.
The Sniper Wolf fight will be amazing.
I think of MGS2 as well, though, Gene. Like the beginning of it when he's walking on the bridge and then he runs, and flips off the cat, like his like coat, his jacket, and he jumps off the bridge. Like just seeing that even in like a remake would be fucking.
Oh yeah, just seeing that recreated in Unreal Engine would be fun, you know. and to take the tanker mission. Big Shell probably wouldn't be that exciting as an environment to explore, but so that's why I think 1 would definitely be the bigger pop off, and I would be extremely excited for a remake of Metal Gear 1 and 2 as well, but 1 for sure.
Depending on how they look at things, it's like, so I'm looking at the timeline now. It's like Peace Walker is next. So it's 10 years after Snake Eater. And then the next year is Ground Zeroes. And then 10 years after that, so we were in the mid 80s now, is the Phantom Pain. And then you get to the 90s, and that's when Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 take place. And then 2005 is the Shadow Moses incident. So that's Metal Gear Solid 1. And then Sons of Liberty is 2007, 2009, which would be Metal Gear 4. And then Sons of Liberty is 2. And then Metal Gear Solid 4 would be 2014. So Delta seemed like such a logical place to begin, in other words, and make perfect sense to me when they announced it years ago that they were doing it. I was like, yeah, okay, I understand. Now I don't know. Now, like it's on.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised by them going to. I was pleasantly surprised, but a little surprised that they went to Silent Hill 1 next with Silent Hill 2, because you think you'd want to keep going. You're kind of stepping backwards to make a smaller game. It's actually in a smaller example, kind of what Square Enix is doing with Dragon Quest, where it's like Dragon Quest 1 and 2 are very rudimentary compared to Dragon Quest 3. You're going in the wrong direction, but you kind of have to do it eventually.
Sure.
It would kind of be cool for them to maybe accede to that with Metal Gear Solid 1, which happens to be a legendary game. So it's not like it really would feel like a step backwards.
No, I don't think I feel like it wouldn't be a step backwards. And you would have to remake the whole game. So this would be a good opportunity to Ishimura that shit, and basically turn dude, imagine Shadow Moses as a fucking contiguous environment, man.
Yeah, it would be sick.
The names are so cool, man. It's
Shadow Moses.
Shadow Moses is so fucking metal, dude. Yeah, that is such a dope name.
It's Moses in the shadow,
Dude, yeah, fucking all of it is Shagohod and Sahelanthropus. Just absurd.
So
absurd, cool names.
Metal Gear Rex, Metal Gear Ray.
Yeah, just the Patriots and all that. Like it's all good. It's all
the
good
Patriots. Guns of the Patriots, Sons of the Patriots.
I think
Sons of Liberty. We are the Sons of Liberty. So fucking theatrical and awesome.
It is. It's dope.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see 2 next, though. Honestly, just because, just from I think they'll probably look at 2 and they're like, well, this is the easiest one to do. So let's get people used to maybe a cadence of I think they should be working on Metal Gear Solid 1 remake in the background of all this.
Yeah, Virtuous could do both. I mean, they're huge. I mean, Konami would have to pay a lot, but
they're massive.
But they are a massive company. They can withstand.
Yeah, but 1, I feel like 1 requires you can't. It's not as simple as I think 2 would be.
Yeah, you might want to send 1 to someone else. I don't know if that would be an insult at this point, because I think they did such a nice job. But you're right, because they are more of a port and remake. They might not have I don't want to be mean, but they might not have what it takes. It's a that's going to require a lot of vision and a lot of careful consideration. All right, so we had a technical issue. Gene's gone because he's totally out of room on his computer.
Yeah, he's gone
because it obviously caches. So, and we're wrapping up anyway, so we just let him go. We know about as much about Gene and his disappearance as the Fury. But Chris, you're in the middle of saying something, so please continue.
No, yeah, I just think it would just be cool to see Metal Gear Solid 1 remade in this way and just given a new lease, because I do think that's the one where I'm intimidated to go back to it, because I just the frame rate on that original game on modern hardware hasn't really, it's a little rough. I think I could probably do it now at this point. I'm so ingratiated in MGS, I could probably stick through it. And I probably will at some point anyway, but seeing Shadow Moses and the way that we're seeing Selena Yark's here would be just mind-bendingly cool.
Yeah, it would be sick. And I do agree with what Gene was saying about maybe the big shell being a little bit less dramatic, but I think that would be cool too. And I do agree with you. The more linear move for if Virtuous was going to continue to do this would be for them to just move on to that and just bang that out. And if you're going to let them do the full on ground up remake, then you let that team, or whatever their internal team that would do it, learn a little bit more, because it's as you said, and as it's obvious, it's MGS1 is going to require real direction. You're not going to be able to graft what was there onto something new. It's going to need to be reimagined, just based on camera angles and controls and even frame rates and the plotting nature of the game. It's going to need to feel bigger because it's going to need to move faster, and it's going to be a lot of things that they're going to have to do. But they can do it. They can do it. And it's not the first time it would have been remade, because there is Twin Snakes on GameCube.
What do you make of the name Delta?
I thought I read somewhere where they were. I wish I remember what it was. That like it's a reference. I thought to like the mathematical delta. Let me see if I can find this. But yeah, what do you think of it?
I don't know, because I was thinking of like almost like military core, like because I guess because I played Battlefield 6 really recently. There's like Alpha, Beta, Charlie, and Delta.
Right.
And I was thinking like, oh well, that would be the fourth one, and this is the third one. And I was thinking like, so would for example, like would Metal Gear Solid Charlie be Peace Walker, and then.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know if that would make much sense, but it just seemed like a strange, cool. Like Delta felt weird as a naming convention to me. But
it says here, this is via Wikipedia. This is all I can find right now. According to Metal Gear Twitter account, the Delta symbol in the game's title, quote, fits the concept of the remake project. Delta means change or difference without changing structure, end quote. Oh, apparently cool. Referring to the symbol's use in math and science to mean a change in quantity. So
okay,
but who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I like that idea. I think that's a great idea.
I think it'd be cool personally. But.
Peace Walker, it is interesting because that would be next, but I don't know. I could just be misinterpreting them, but Peace Walker and 5 just seems so much less dense with story because they're more mission based and activity based. But I could just be totally wrong on that. I don't know.
Well, I would say that Metal Gear Solid 5. I haven't played Peace Walker. I think I want to like. It must be available, right? Like
it's on PS3 for sure. I don't know if it went any further than that, but it was in the original collection. I think the Metal Gear collection that came out it'll be on 360 as well.
Oh yeah, so I do have it. I do want to get around to that because that is so directly connected to 5 and Ground Zeroes. But 5 isn't necessarily not dense in story. I just think the story is like a different structure. It's almost more like a BioShock kind of thing, where like a lot of the story is, instead of in cutscenes, it's in a lot of these like audio diaries that you find. You just find conversations between characters that are really like, I don't know. I think the story in 5 is kind of underrated. I understand people's issues with it, but like I think it's just gone about in a different way, in a more explorative way, in a more player driven way. And I think people confuse fewer cutscenes with less story. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair, but I also should. I don't know. I'm really into Metal Gear Solid right now. I want to play more of it, and I think maybe Peace Walker might be.
Yeah, you should embrace that. That's good shit. I love being in the zone like that. I'm in a very Kojima mode. I think this will be it for the year, but just Death Stranding and Death Stranding 2 and this all like over the summer basically is a lot.
For sure.
So yeah, well, that was fun. I appreciate you taking the time, Chris, to talk to me. Hope you continue to enjoy your playthroughs. I think I'm done with Delta now. I platinumed it. It was great. I played through it twice. Highly recommended. I guess I'm sure Gene would agree too. Highly recommended to people. I think it's totally worth it. And I don't know if they've improved the performance or whatever the issues. I'll just say, because I know Dustin feels differently, but it's just like from my more layman's perspective, I guess, on a technical level, I just feel like the game didn't really, whatever technical issues may or may not have been happening to me on this game, it didn't affect the gameplay for me because it's not Vanquish or something like that. It's not supposed to move fast. So I don't know. People will have to make up their own decisions on that. But a lot of things to unlock and a lot of cool different ways to play it. Lots of cool little quirks. We've gone through a lot of it. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope if you've made it this far, you've played it already. Otherwise, you spoiled the entire thing for yourself. Chris, be well. Appreciate your time. Have a good weekend. You too, man. Thanks. And thank you all out there for your love, kindness, and support. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well out there, being safe, being well. We'll see you next time for more Sacred Symbols and Sacred Symbols Plus. Patreon.com/LastStandMedia for early ad-free access and LastStandMedia.store for merch. Till next time, goodbye. Sacred Symbols, a PlayStation podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is conceived by, is written by, and is directed by me, Colin Moriarty. My co-hosts are Chris Raygun Maldonado and Dustin Furman. The show is produced by executive producer Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by my best friend, Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand's shows, including Sacred Symbols, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your thoughtful and kind contributions to our independent endeavor. Thank you.